cause I don't give a fuck what you say. Yeah, I'ma do shit my way. So you can go kick rocks, I'ma stack bricks up, build what I want to make. Yo, I got a lot of shit to say, so I'ma do this every day. I'll be writing things until I'm fucking buried in my grave.
You're right there.
No, Neo. If you identify as an innocent human being, you won't have to.
I identify as an innocent human being.
All right.
I'm a masochist. Whatever I want.
What are you doing?
Whatever I want.
Well, you're all over the internet. People are creeped the fuck out. What are you doing? Like, I just drove over here to find you.
Okay. Why would you do that?
I'm not going to fight you. I'd like to tell you I have a CPL. I'm carrying a firearm, so I'm not going to fight you.
I don't want to fight
what
you
are
either.
doing?
I don't care if you have a gun. I'm glad you got a gun. More
What are you
people should carry guns. Whatever I want. Whatever I
For
want.
what reason?
My
You
reason.
like being a creep? Because you are.
All these creepy ass looking people calling me a creep. That's funny. I got fucking Jeffrey Dahmer 1 and Jeffrey Dahmer 2 right here. Damn. You satisfied with the election? You don't. Oh, you're demon possessed. You need to get back. See it in your eyes.
You don't have a job, do you?
This is my job.
Yeah, is it?
This is my job.
Being a fucking creep?
You're being a fucking creep.
Huma, huma, hima, huma, hima. Huma, huma. Hima, huma. Hima, huma.
What the fuck is this guy? I have no idea. He's like creeping everyone out here. I'm sure he is.
Huma, hima. Shalamahala. Shalamahala. Shalamahala.
Well, you're pretty easy to
Shalom
find.
Mahalo.
You're all over the internet.
I don't
Just
care.
so you know.
Okay, cool. Is that a threat? All right, cool.
That is 100% your opinion. You're welcome to your opinion. I think you're weird.
I would agree that I'm weird.
Cool.
But I know that I'm not weird telling people in public trying to fucking jack off to them later.
Oh, is that what I'm doing? Again, that's your opinion.
That's what I think he's doing.
Again, that's your opinion. You think too much.
I would.
Apparently you do. All the words that come out of your mouth tell me exactly where your intelligence levels is. Just so you know. Whatever. You're allowed to think whatever you want.
Y'all are fucking weird, man.
Again, welcome to your opinion.
Y'all are fucking weird.
Opinions are like assholes. Everybody's got one. Most of them stink.
Something not too, man.
I mean, I could stand here for the next 10 hours if I want to record. Not anybody can do about it.
Well, if I keep this shit up, I'm gonna fill off 15 gigabytes of my shit up.
Right? I'm just saying.
I mean, if also, by the way,
What?
that's what you're into.
If what's what you're into? What are you talking about? Can you articulate that at all?
You can go watch his videos. I already articulated it, man.
Have you?
Yeah.
Okay, right on. Sounds good.
What's your YouTube channel? I mean, if that's what you're into.
You just have to look for yourself on there. You'll find it.
I think I see you on Instagram, probably.
What's that?
I think I saw your reels or something.
I don't do Instagram. No, I don't do Instagram. I don't like Instagram. Yeah, a lot of my stuff is put on Instagram, 100%. I'm absolutely an asshole. I own that shit. I will hurt your fucking feelings.
Me too.
If you give me a reason to. If you're nice to me, I'll be nice to you.
Man, y'all aren't being nice to anybody out here harassing people. Public.
She don't get to walk out the door and call me weird without me saying something in response.
Maybe if you people were fucking nice first, I wouldn't be in
I
this.
mean, that's how it is. You say something to me that I feel is derogatory or an insult, I'm going to insult you right
Man, it's
back.
fucking weird to-
Well, again, you're welcome to your opinion. Nobody's saying you're not welcome to it.
Weirdo. You're a fucking pervert, man.
Oh, you're making a lot of assumptions.
Yes, she is.
It's my First Amendment right to make assumptions.
Whatever you say. Cool. Oh yeah, I didn't have anything else to do right now anyway. Shit. I got pick your sister up at 4, so I've got plenty of time.
Hi, I'm the owner.
Don't touch him. Hey, get your hands off him. Bitch, I will fucking smash
Hey,
you.
watch out.
Get your fucking hands off people. Right now. You broke his fucking tooth? All right, cool.
Y'all get out of here.
No, fuck you. You get out of here. I'm calling the cops. Don't touch me, bitch. I'll fucking smash your face. Touch me and I will smash your face. I will smash your fucking face with this. I'm telling you. No, what you just did was assault and battery. That's a fucking ruthless. That's a fucking
Battery.
That's battery.
Battery. Yeah.
Let's fucking go!
Go ahead.
Yeah, the cops will be here. Don't worry. Back up.
Yeah, look at shit.
All right, just back up. Back up behind me. I suggest y'all go the fuck back inside. Fuck off. I can do what? I'm not on your property. I'm on the public sidewalk. You don't own the fucking sidewalk. You get back. I'm telling you, you come within me, I'm gonna smash you.
Then you're going to jail.
You want to bet? I have the right to defend myself. Let's stay in the ground state. You've already fucking shown you're gonna be violent. I have the right to defend myself. You better learn the law.
Oh, I know the law.
No, you fucking don't. I have to back her the fuck up. Back her up. You're number one too. Everybody's number one. Y'all keep your distance, okay? You don't need to be aggressive. See, now you're being aggressive, dude. And I'm telling you, if you assault something someone is holding, that's an extension of themselves, and that's still assault and battery. If you knock my camera out of my hand, it's an extension of me. You can be charged. Then that could be assault and battery.
Shoving that shit under my screen, dude.
But now you got it in his face. You don't have the right to have this in his face, dude. Get out of his personal space. Get out of his personal space because you're in his. So get out of his personal space. Be respectful.
I'm standing.
No, you're not being respectful, dude.
Pretty fucking good.
You're not being respectful. You're not being respectful. Back up. You're not being. So what? He has right to do that. Everybody in America has right to do it. Everybody in America has the right to do it.
I know. I agree with you.
You don't want me in your personal space, stay out of his. That's how that works. All right, man.
Hey, so I got that link sent over. Did you guys get a text from me?
Let me check.
I want to make sure that's sent through. I can do it while we're here right now, too.
Meekoff request
That's
evidence.
it.
All right, I got it then, my man.
Yeah, so pretty much you click on that. It's a one-time link. So if there's an issue, you call dispatch. This report number I'm about to give you.
Okay.
If there's any issues, be like, hey, I need another link sent. Send the report number in there. Put the video right back in there. But literally, click on the video like your phone library and it goes right
Right.
there.
I'll cut the video just to that section so I don't have to send like 4 or 5 minutes of video. I can send just that section.
Yeah, so as
Oh,
long as
yeah.
it captures that part, you
Okay.
know, it's obviously that benefits the statements you're providing with me.
Absolutely.
So,
All right, man. So I figured she took off, so they'll put out a
So the other
warrant.
two right now, they're doing follow-up right now with the accuser, you know, obviously with the initial aggressor with this.
Mhm.
So we're going to you're right after that. So,
Okay.
do you have any questions for me?
No, man.
So, you seem like
Right. Let it go. Let it go. That should be the thing for today. Let it go. Everybody needs to let it go.
I talked to you yesterday, remember?
Oh, is that Jeffrey Dahmer? Are you the one that walked up and threatened him and said you weren't going to fight him because you had a concealed pistol?
Oh, no.
That's a threat, dude. And I got it on video and it's going to the cops.
No. So you said that this is your job, right?
It doesn't matter what he said. The fact that you said you drove all the way over here to find him and you're not going to fight him because you have a concealed carry permit and a pistol. So that's a deadly threat with intent, and that's going to the cops.
So how much?
Just so you know.
Right now,
Just so you know.
you guys aren't contributing to the.
You don't know
economy
what
at all.
we're doing. That's your opinion, sweetheart. That's your opinion.
No,
That's your
I call
opinion.
it like I said.
Did you come here today to find us with your pistol and do
The
something to
economy
us?
is So important.
Did you? Did you
guys
come
are
here
out
today?
at
Did you
1
come here
o'clock
today?
On a Friday.
Did you come here
recording
today
people?
with your pistol to do something to somebody? Like you said yesterday, because that's what you said
You are a
yesterday,
loser.
according to you, and that's your opinion.
You are a loser.
You're welcome to it. If anybody wanted a lip from you, we'd scrape it off their zipper.
You can do whatever you
Yeah,
want.
you're damn right, Jeffrey Dahmer. We can.
Or like dollar store Jason.
Now, again, did you bring your concealed pistol to threaten me, to do me bodily
I'm being
harm?
detained.
Absolutely not. I'm not a cop. You're the one that pulled up here and decided to engage in conversation, so you get
Yeah,
what
I know.
you
I've
get.
been thinking about it all day yesterday.
Have you?
That he said that this is his job.
It doesn't matter what his job is,
That's hilarious.
isn't it?
Yeah, it
Isn't
is.
it?
You guys are never going to get famous on YouTube.
Oh, really? Okay. Sounds good. Sounds good.
You're not good
It
at
sounds good.
Yeah.
It sounds good.
So contribute to the economy.
You have no idea what you're talking about. You have no. Do you know that? Do you not
We're in a
know?
trade. I'm
Do you-
40. I'm going to trade school.
Good
You're like
for
60.
you.
You can do it too, man.
Good for you, sweetheart. Good
You're
for
not
you.
retired.
Good for you, sweetheart. You have no idea what you're talking about.
Oh,
You just all up in your feelings, bitch. Yeah, that's the guy that showed up yesterday and said he drove all the way over here to find my son, and he was not going to fight him because he has a concealed carry permit.
Hey, you ever hear? Spit it out. It ain't yours. Spit it out. It ain't yours.
Jack Smith, you know this? He's dropping the charges against Donald Trump. That's a lot of fun. And Americans now, to the tune of 70-something percent, guess that last number, actually want deportations effective immediately. So what happened, I think, is Donald Trump won, and before it was about 50, I think it was 56% of Americans, and now that he's going to be president, most Americans are going, yeah, all right, I guess we should get rid of him.
Now I can say it.
I can say it. Yeah.
That's going to happen anyway.
Yeah.
Might as well say it.
I've always been for it.
The funniest part is when you look at the polls, there's like highest priority and medium priority. And there's a huge portion of people who are like immediate deportations, medium priority. So it's just, the poll's like, so would you say this is highest priority? Well, no, just deporting immediately. Medium high priority.
Yeah,
Immediately. Medium priority.
I don't want you to say I was against it.
Yeah.
Right.
How fast? Like tomorrow. You can do it on your own time. We got
by close of business.
I mean, this is the holidays. You want to separate families and
just by the end of the holidays, call it by Boxing Day. Little India down the streets is gone.
Boxing Day.
I want Trump's opening day to be immigrant free.
Yes.
Opening day is not baseball.
You know what?
It is.
I can call it whatever I want
right.
to call it. Okay. Hot dogs are flying, Gerald.
I want the line to
drinking a beer
leave the
somewhere.
country to be like that shoe store, Special Kicks, when they have a new release.
Yes. It's like around the block.
Yes, because stupid people spend a lot of money on sneakers. All right.
Hey.
If at some point today, if we haven't already, you see this? head on over to Rumble. It's a live show weekdays 10 a.m. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot. If you're in Rumble Premium, you're a Mug Club member. This Friday we do have a show for you.
That's right.
Actually, we do have a show this Friday, limited because some people are on the road. We have the Scrapyard, the behind-the-scenes show that we often do on Fridays, where the content that absolutely should not make air here to the general population is available to you. Don't screen record it and share it, but I know some of you will. What are you cooking this Thanksgiving? You doing turkey? You doing ham? Oh, we're going to talk about that too, by the way. I can't believe I didn't mention this. There's a huge article that went out yesterday. It went viral. That Thanksgiving dinner is actually historically cheap right now.
Oh.
Yeah, you just don't know it. It's $58 to feed a family of 10, according to the Farm Bureau. And everyone's complaining about it, but there are a couple of just creative math techniques that they use that we are going to point out. Can you guess what they are? Take a guess. There's two. And there was one that I went, of course, when I finally found out. Captain Morgan, number 2, CEO, how are you?
I am very, very, very good. How are you?
Good. Looking forward to Thanksgiving.
Yeah, me too.
Gonna have a house.
A little time away from, the office. Not anybody in particular.
Look, you break for lunch for like 3 hours every day.
I'm staring at Tool Man over here.
And when you hear this, you know you'll love him. I'm not going to answer you.
Fine.
Friday, Saturday, December 27th, 28th, Tacoma Comedy Club in Washington. Josh Firestein, how are you?
I'm good, and Tacoma likes it raw, baby.
Hey, they do not.
Yeah, they do. They're dirty, and I'm coming back. It's been a year. I've been gone a year from Tacoma. Well, from that date.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
Well, maybe in the new year, maybe I'll, I don't know, maybe I'll head up to the Northwest.
But, yeah, you should. A lot of fun people up there.
You guys can comment if
they're thirsty.
I'm toying with the idea of going back. I've been sitting on a lot of material. So, hey, speaking of material, James Carville gave some very sage advice.
Oh my gosh.
I like James Carville. Is he a lefty? Yes, but you do have to respect what you were about to watch. He talks about life, running a campaign, and progressives at this year's Politicon, the Ragin' Cajun, who I really do appreciate.
If I told my mama, I got to slap you to win. And she said, son, is that going to help you close the sale? I said, yes, ma'am. She said, go ahead and slap me. Go ahead and slap me. You do anything you can to win.
That's her hoodie, too.
Understand that. And let me tell you.
So I beat the shit out of her.
Huge error.
Still lost.
Huge
Trying to figure it out.
Error.
Is when people said campaigns need to reflect progressive values. No, they don't. No, they don't.
No, they
Campaigns are authoritarian by their nature. And if I were running a 2028 campaign and I had some little snot-nosed 23-year-old saying I'm going to resign if you don't do this, not only would I fire that motherfucker on the spot, I would find out who hired them and fire that person on the spot.
And they find their mama and I slap her, too.
I'm not interested in your uninformed, stupid, jackass opinion as to whether you go on Joe Rogan or not. But I guess the progressives now have their dream. We're more of a coastal party. We've gotten rid of these moderates, and maybe you can all sit around some coffee house in Lower Manhattan and celebrate how fucking smart you all are. But I have hope for the future. We've got some talented people. Can't wait to see them out there. Let's go get them, guys. Thank you.
Part of like this guy sees politics as a game, and he just and he's decided to sign up because his wife is a Republican. Decided to sign up for the Democrat Party and just sees how moronic they are.
Oh, I love it. That's one of the best speeches I've ever.
Coffee house in Lower Manhattan. I'll be in the bayou getting myself some swamp thing. That's where you get the best food. Get food out there.
Oh my God.
Not getting food from the Hudson River. That's contaminated. I get it down from all the leeches, mosquitoes, and all the shrimp with the veins, the best part.
They're talking about Thanksgiving gonna cost $58 this year. Oh, just being back home is free.
That's right. I understand. Not everybody privileged. Don't got free Thanksgiving in the backyard.
Got a gator back there.
Got a gator, got snake.
So brine that gator up.
Paying $9 for a cup of coffee. I just mix up some mud from the bayou. Smack my mama. Beat the shit out of her.
Traditional snakes and alligator Thanksgiving.
He just walks up in an open casket. Like, now you best beat her ass. That's what you wanted.
Looks like he runs a funeral parlor.
It does a little bit.
Can you imagine if that was your funeral parlor guy?
That's the trick. You don't got to moisturize. The embalming fluid keeps me alive.
Now my ball's scared from the corpses.
Yeah, right.
Oh.
Halloween, I put myself out on the lawn. I love the guy. I want him on the show. I really would love to have James Carville.
Trick or treat, stupid.
Yeah, I got a trick for you, dum-dum. Give me a candy, I'll beat your ass. I'm here this Sunday.
You know, you when you're hungry, take a Snickers, stupid. There's no wrong way to eat a Reese's.
Hey, look, man, young boy, look at your daddy. Why the are you eating Applejack? Don't even taste like apple. We eat Gator Rolls in this household.
Captain Crunch said, "Oops, all berries." It wasn't no mistake. Did on purpose.
Let me tell you, son, you are God's greatest mistake.
Well, let's go to the pause. Let's go inside of the pause.
If we could get him to do a sketch.
Oh, I know.
Oh my god.
I got it. Give him a Snickers. He's the same guy. It doesn't fix him.
Jeez.
Thanks for the Snickers. I bet you he would eat it. He'd be like, nah, we all used to eat. I remember we used to serve it in the cafeteria till that pussy boy got allergic to peanuts.
Feel better, James?
Time we go on a school trip, motherfucker got to eat the brownie rolling for the rest of us. Can't eat peanuts, can't eat peanuts. What happened to my party? I don't know why I have such a fondness for him.
Carville was right. James.
Yes. Do you know what that guy is like off camera? You know what
Exactly like that, I think.
He's in the green room and someone goes, well, I think being inclusive of our LGBT allies. He's in the corner going, oh, gee. Cracked on crutches. Talking about that. Oh, I got a migraine. You talking about trans chick with dicks. That's why you're losing, stupid. All right. Sorry, let's get back to the heartwarming Thanksgiving.
Yes.
We
have a show to do.
We do have a show. It's 15 minutes of just James Carville. Oh, my God. By the way, CrowderShop.com Black Friday sale starts today. 25% off until December 1st. No promo code needed. You can get everything. The Trump 45th, 47th. You can get the Fight Like Hell shirt, Strange Animal, everything that we have there. We're really looking.
Go there now. Do it.
What are you waiting for, stupid?
25% off. That's a great deal.
I think Gerald in a bald cap would be a good James Carville.
All right.
That's enough to make it real, though.
So
Well, you got it.
Thanksgiving is obviously Thursday, but today is actually an important day in its own right. Today in history, in 1789, George Washington issued a proclamation for Thanksgiving. He said, now, therefore, I do recommend and assign Thursday, the 26th day of November, next to be devoted by the people of these states to the service of that great and glorious being who is the beneficent author of all the good that was, that is, or that will be. Yeah, like Bret Hart. That we may then all unite in rendering unto him our sincere and humble thanks for his kind care and protection of the people of this country previous to their becoming a nation. And on his way out, he coughed on a few Redskins. Okay. Luckily, his slaves couldn't read this. Which is, by the way, he liked his potatoes as he liked his slaves. Well whipped.
That's
I guess the truth. It's better than rice.
Yeah, that would be messed up. You guys didn't know what you're missing.
You rice a slave? Which way?
You don't rice him, you got to mash
We can't rice a slave. Rice a slave, you don't have no one to work the field no more. You ain't got no more slaves. You just got peach and bits everywhere. You whip them. You whip them just enough to keep them working hard, but still scared of you.
James Carville throughout the eras of time.
We don't want no tax on our tea. Look, he said ain't nothing to fear but fear itself, and that is stupid. There's plenty to fear. There's spiders out there to bite your dick off. Brazilian want a spider bite you, give you pride, pleasure, die after a 4-hour erection. Only fear itself. That stupid platitude. Enjoy your party.
Party. It says party.
Party. I don't even know.
I thought you were going to read that. I started laughing at the beginning because I was like, oh, I want him to read this as James Garville. The whole Washington thing.
That would be great if that was how George Washington sounded.
Yeah. From the bayou.
Paul Revere.
Yeah.
The British are coming, stupid! What do you mean by laying the courses by sea, you idiot? Tell you what, I'm gonna tell you one quotation. Look at this harbor. That harbor look now. Don't put it to you now. All right. So, by the way, Thanksgiving is super affordable. I don't know if you know this. According to the Farm Bureau, there's an article that's come out and it's been echoed by NBC, and a lot of people are confused by this. And this is why the elites, meaning those in power in both media and government, have lost your trust, and rightfully so. They keep blaming you for believing your lying eyes and ears. Right? Well, you probably think that Thanksgiving is quite expensive right now compared to, let's say, at least pre-COVID or even last year. No. You're wrong. It's actually going to be historically cheap, but still more expensive than last year.
Hosting Thanksgiving dinner this year won't be as expensive as last year, but it's still going to cost more than usual. The average price for a Thanksgiving dinner for 10 people is around $58 this year. That's according to the American Farm Bureau Federation's annual survey. Despite the drop in prices from last year, average dinner costs are still up 19% compared to pre-pandemic levels.
Yeah, that number's wrong. We'll get to that. 19% since pre-pandemic levels. It's actually, spoiler, 19% since last year at minimum. So we'll get to it. But this isn't good. According to NBC, it actually is. It says, you may not know it by looking at sticker prices and grocery aisles. But Thanksgiving dinner is more affordable than it has been in years.
Time out. How else would I know it other than the sticker prices?
Oh, no. That's so pedestrian.
Oh, okay. So there's hidden math or something? Because
you might be fooled by the writing.
Yeah.
You're reading with your eyes.
You know who cares about the kind of stuff you say is stupid? You're not fooled. Come on, English.
You might be fooled by how much less money you have.
Yes,
but rest assured, dum-dum.
I don't care what the price on the sticker says, but the cashier does.
Yes,
okay?
Exactly. So there are some creative ways that they did some math here, and we're going to get to it. And one, I had kind of a light bulb moment this morning. I'll get to it in a second. Let's go through the claims so that you are prepared for a Thanksgiving dinner, because no doubt this will come up. Claim that's being made right now. You can host a Thanksgiving for 10 for just $58. So the example they use,
KFC?
it includes like 11, a basket of 11 goods, like 16-pound turkey, I believe, or 17-pound, 1 gallon of milk, 1 can of peas, a pie. So there's a whole example. You can check out the link. Here's the truth. According to Lending Tree, not a bastion of conservatism, just to be clear, Thanksgiving for 10 this year actually costs about $392.
Oh.
So what they do is they survey accounts for food, drinks, decor, all of that. The Farm Bureau analysis, it doesn't factor in any of that, by the way. I didn't see in there, it doesn't factor in butter, it doesn't factor in seasoning, it doesn't factor in drinks aside from 1 gallon of milk. There's a lot that they don't factor in. And all of those, of course, you have experienced. So let's look at the actual Thanksgiving dinner inflation. Farm Bureau, this article that NBC is circulating, right? But comes from Farm Bureau, but the NBC article is the one that's catching fire. They said that prices are up 19% since 2019. Lending Tree says it's up 19% since last year, which is really important because this administration has been telling you that inflation is under control and it's down under 4% right now.
Yeah.
Well, hold on. 19% in 1 year is more than 4%. But you probably just are going by the sticker prices in your bank account. Dummy.
Also, nobody believes that $58 for 10 people. You can't go to Taco Bell and get 10 people food.
That's what I'm saying. You can't get a 10-piece from KFC.
Stupid.
Like it's
no, absolutely not.
Like the metric.
Well, there are a couple of things. There is one way to do it, and I'll get to that.
Okay.
So the survey, by the way, also found that due to costs, you have a bunch of people who are reconsidering hosting others for Thanksgiving, and you have people who outright regret hosting Thanksgiving this year, especially, by the way, if you're hosting this bitch. They're not thrilled with it, and yeah, that's going to be...
That's
a
huge bitch!
Well, she's going to eat
$58
She's going to eat 52 of the 50.
Yeah.
Same joke.
Sorry.
Is this honey baked?
You made it better than
Just put the honey in my mouth. It's the same. I'll mix it and make it.
Drip it in with the pumpkin pie, just from the can.
That's right. How much is it for a gallon of gravy?
Don't worry, I whip my own cream.
Oh, God.
And here's another truth, by the way. And again, taking the totality, all references available at louderwithcredit.com, as we do every day. I encourage every other program to do this. Even high-income households, meaning over $100,000 a year in earnings, they're affected. So you see this because a lot of more sort of budget-minded stores like Walmart, they're seeing record earnings.
Yeah.
Partially because of higher income households now trading down, now shopping at these places, now not shopping at the higher end stores. So 100,000, this is more proof, doesn't get you what it used to. The idea of a six-figure income really now is distinctly middle class. You should be grateful. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Greatest country on earth if you're making 100,000, but it's not the same metric or the same sort of yardstick that it used to be. Now, here's another claim that they make. And this is one that I just went through recently because I was doing a test turkey and I screwed it up. So I had to get another turkey. So the claim they're making is that a 16-pound turkey will cost you just $25. Okay. So about $1.60 per pound. Here's the truth. That is a proactively dishonest number. Okay. So since 2020, costs are up. Like a 16-pound turkey is up 27%.
Oh, wow.
A food at home in general, 19%. Let's look at this. A frozen turkey. Okay. And this is the creative math. This is what happens. A lot of people don't realize this. It's like after Christmas in Canada, we have Boxing Day, right? Where everything goes on clearance. They cut down the prices.
Right.
Thanksgiving. Anyone out there comment? Do you have a frozen turkey? Okay. How many days does it take to thaw a turkey? How many of you purchased your turkey weeks ago? Maybe a month ago, maybe a couple months ago. Certainly probably more than a day or 2 or 5 days before Thanksgiving, because it takes about, depending, 4 or 5 days to thaw, let's say, a 20-pound turkey. So what happens is the clearance takes place right before Thanksgiving with these stores. So we looked at Kroger, for example. I just went through this yesterday because I thought a turkey wrong. I was going to smoke one this year. I was getting a test turkey, and I screwed it up in the fridge. That's a miracle. I know.
You didn't even make it to the grill?
No, so I purchased a frozen turkey then, and then just yesterday was buying another turkey, and I saw the prices of the frozen turkey versus thawed turkey.
Yeah.
And that matters because right now the thawed turkey prices are what frozen turkey prices were just a little bit ago. So the prices come down because after Thanksgiving, right, they're not going to be selling a bunch of 20-pound turkeys, certainly not nearly as much. So what you see right now actually is cheaper than they've said. A 16-pound turkey right now, $12, $12.60. 2 weeks ago, $30.40. That's a 16-pound turkey.
Wow.
So added up per pound, you are looking, if you bought your turkey more than 2 weeks before Thanksgiving, that's why you're going, but I paid like $40, $50 just for my turkey. That's why it goes on sale, and they can pick their spot. The Farm Bureau, they know this. They can pick the spot where they gauge the price of turkey. They do it in those 2 weeks leading up to Thanksgiving where we see price breaks. Here's more proof of that. Right now, if you wanted to buy a turkey, you could get that frozen turkey, like I said, for $12. You need it in time for Thanksgiving? Has to be thawed, has to be a fresh turkey. $35 today.
Wow.
Oof. So getting your turkey that you could have for Thanksgiving 2 weeks ago, about $30-something for a 16-pound turkey. Getting a turkey right now that you can use for Thanksgiving, about the same price, $35. Buying a turkey today that you can use 2 weeks from now, oh, you get a discount. That's how they do it. Does that make you guys see that? They're not looking out for you. They're not. The only role of the media, of the press, I've talked about this many times, but certainly when you're looking at Farm Bureau, when you're looking at any government agencies trying to give you the cost of goods and services, they should be arming you. They should be providing you with information so that you can make more informed decisions. That is the goal of a free price. You get screwed. Do you see? You might actually think that you're going to go to the store and get a 12, get a 16, get a $20 turkey.
Yeah.
No, not if you want it in time for Thanksgiving. You're looking at paying over $30 for a 16-pound turkey. No matter how you do it. Speaking of expensive turkeys, by the way, yesterday, former Vice President Biden pardoned 2 turkeys.
The peach pie in our state is one of my favorites. It's a state dessert. And peach blossom flower also symbolizes resilience, which is quite frankly fitting for today. And today, Peach and Blossom will join the free birds of the United States of America. Born this past July at the Zimmerman family farm, raised by the, yeah, I hear you.
Oh, jeez.
Fun.
So hold on. I thought one turkey gets pardoned, one gets shot in the head or killed. Okay, fine. One gets pardoned, but he pardoned both turkeys there?
Wait, why is there 2 turkeys? I don't understand why there's 2 turkeys.
Oh, because after this, they host a turkey peep show. And yep, it's going to be.
Oh, my God.
Oh, God.
Gobble.
Oh, yeah, Gobble Sutra. Pick that up on Amazon. Free shipping.
By the way, you ever seen turkey's mate? It is by no violent, by no definition, lovemaking. No. The male turkey just takes what he wants. He mean what he say. Now,
man, that's a drive ass.
What a weak president.
It is.
Pardoning two turkeys.
It is funny to see
Former
turkeys
vice
talk dirty.
Former vice president.
He pardoned 2 turkeys and not his son. That's cool. I think that's cool.
His son just shows up dressed as a pilgrim.
You're pardoning the turkey hunter?
Dadgummit, Hunter's doing coke again.
Well, the Turkey Peep Show is a great place to do it. Not many
Yes, it is.
people.
Yeah.
Not many people are visiting.
You don't want to do the Turkey Peep Show sober.
No, you do not. It's just depressing.
Yeah.
So, in the spirit of the season, by the way, here we had a bit of an early Thanksgiving at the office ourselves. Well, happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Obviously, we had a great year, and I think that's a little corny. In the spirit of giving thanks, we could all go around the table and just list what it is we're most grateful for.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm thankful for research and all the long hours they put in every day for us.
Did that work for you?
Yeah.
I'm thankful for the new TriCaster. We wouldn't have been able to do the election live stream without it.
That's true. Spending on it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thankful.
I'm thankful for my Patriot Supply. Long-lasting, great-tasting food when you need it, especially the rice pudding.
Yeah, well, we know that, Josh. We know that, but why do you have it at the table?
Because it's dinner, obviously.
It's Thanksgiving dinner. Billy made like an entire spread for us, Josh.
Yeah, but my Patriot Supply tastes so good, especially that pudding.
Josh, I mean, Billy spent all day making us an actual Thanksgiving dinner.
Yeah, but there's spaghetti in here.
Okay, yeah, I know that, but the point is that Billy went through all the trouble of making this meal for us. So for Thanksgiving, we break bread together and give thanks as a family.
There's bread in here. Plus pudding.
Josh, maybe you should stop being a dick and just eat what Billy's preparing for us.
Yeah. Okay. I didn't want to say this out loud, but Billy's food sucks, dude. Oh my God, his turkey's dry, okay? His stuffing has fruit in it for some reason. His gravy looks like my last oil change. And would you believe it? He makes his mashed potatoes with a ricer instead of mashing them. I'll stick with my Patriot Supply. Billy! Pudding?
Get $50 off a 4-week kit from My Patriot Supply by going to prepwithcrowder.com today.
That's right. Prepwithcrowder.com. It's shelf-stable emergency food kits. Right now, you get $50 off a 4-week supply. Go to prepwithcrowder.com. I've talked about this. Look, you don't have to be some kind of doomsday prepper or when the crab hits the fan. None of that. Just have enough water, have enough food in case of an emergency. It could be an ice storm like we had in Montreal, earthquakes like you get, of course, hurricanes.
World War III. Who knows?
That could happen too. Just have
not like-
some water.
Yeah, it's not like Bitcoin too. You don't have to like keep investing and buying more and more.
No.
You should have some at home though.
You buy it, you keep it.
I think
Yes.
we have 3 or 4 of these, like literally in an emergency place. Like
Have some
set
water,
aside.
have ideally something to heat it, some kind of like a Bunsen burner setup. And you know what? But Everclear, you can use it to fuel your car if you need to use it to fuel your Bunsen burner, and you can also use it to get a little warm if it's an ice storm and it gets a little nippy.
Yeah, fuel your rage.
Yeah, exactly.
Domestic violence this week.
Then you end up enslaving people, and
Yeah.
you are like Kroll. So let's get to this.
Kroll.
I don't know. What is a conqueror? What is it that you're most thankful for? It's corny. What are you most thankful for? I think I can guess with the election. We're obviously here all very thankful for you and making this the biggest election stream that not only we've ever done, but Mug Club Undercover. Everything that you made happen this year and finally turning Mug Club into Rumble Premium. We always wanted to move this direction and partner up with people who could create a network bigger than what we could do ourselves. So you can click there right now and just join Rumble Premium. It's $99 annually or $9.99 a month. And you get us. You get a full extra show every day. You get a show on Friday. You get Apollo. You get Donald Trump Jr. You get Mr. Guns and Gear. You get now Dr. Disrespect is there. They are adding more and more events.
Yeah.
And you get the whole thing ad-free. You wanted an alternative to YouTube. Here you go. Please, we're very, very grateful and continue to help grow it.
You know what I'm thankful for? Mass deportations.
Yes, as am I, and as are most Americans, because according to a YouGov poll that was just released, 73% of Americans now think deporting illegals should be a priority for Donald Trump. 73% think it should be a high priority or at least a medium priority, which I don't understand how you answer that. Like I get if someone
Medium's, like,
says
still yes.
It's absolutely a yes.
Still like absolutely do it.
And something else interesting, this includes 68% of people under the age of 30. 68%
Wow.
of people under the age of 30 believe that it should be a high priority or a medium priority to deport illegals, and even 51% of Democrats.
I know it's a bit surprising for some of us, but that's the way I feel like it should be like that. Young people should be wanting, to have this country to themselves, for crying out loud.
Yeah, to have the same opportunities that the baby boomer generation had. They're not competing in the same kind of work environment. I get it, especially if you look at housing prices. It's not lost on us. And CBS's coverage, of course, ignored the above. 73% support deportations, and they cited a different question in this poll. The question was, would you approve or disapprove of Donald Trump starting a national program to find and deport all illegal immigrants? All immigrants who are in the U.S. illegally. So it's quite a wordy question. That one was still 57% approve, with only a 43 disapprove. So their best case scenario, where they're really, really trying to make it seem scary, is still 57%. Like, yeah. Of course.
Well, I think that's all in the question, though. They set this question as if he has to start a new there already is one.
Exactly.
I think it's Department of Homeland Security. I think that's a department that exists.
Well, exactly. Even right there, you would get some libertarians who disapprove, going like their reflex is just no, don't start a national program. Just start a national program. Just enforce it.
Yeah, that's a trick question to try to get people who voted for him.
And they still lost.
Yeah, and they still lost. It's just like, okay. So the real number is at least 73% of Americans. Why do you think? Keep in mind, we went from 2016, they're not sending their best, from Donald Trump, racist, I can't believe it, we are a nation of immigrants, and everyone was trumpeting that, to 73% saying, yeah, we got to get them out of here. Do you guys see how progress can be made? All the doomsdayers who are going into this election, please let this not only be a lesson to you, but to everyone else. If you have those people in your family, I'm not going to vote, there's no point. Hey, don't listen to those people.
You know what? I'm thankful for President Joe Robinette Biden.
Really?
Yeah, for opening up that border and showing everybody how chaotic and crazy this can be if you let this happen.
That's true. Yeah. I mean, I wish it could happen with fewer people dying, but the point remains. The point remains. So here's what's happening. The mainstream media, those who are elites, right? Think about just in the last 2 days, you've got Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is more affordable than ever. And Americans said, no, absolutely not. The mainstream media said, deporting. Can you believe this type of racist policy? And Americans said, yeah, actually can. They're going to do everything they can to try and destroy the reputation of not only Donald Trump, but of course you. Remember, once upon a time, you were deplorable. Once upon a time, you were the problem. You were garbage. They know that doesn't work. So they're going to try and divide and conquer. They're going to try and get you to be separated from the people that you've actually elected. Don't let it happen. Let your freak flag fly. This is the time. I guarantee you another generation is going to come in. Maybe 10 years from now, we're going to be back to the NoFX, rock against Bush. Oh, Republicans are the man. There's a moment right now where you are the counterculturalists. The conservatives out there, own it. Own it. That's where we are. All right. Speaking of which, let's own this. The tariffs. This is a big subject. And again, the media, the elites, a lot of them trying to tell you this is bad for you. This is bad for you, when a lot of Americans support these. The more you understand what's happening with the tariffs, the more you would likely support it. I'm not saying that you're, as a left would, you're just ignorant or uninformed. If you understand that it's not about tariffs, and a lot of Americans may not know this, that a lot of tariffs were threatened in the first Trump administration. Some were implemented, but not all of them. Okay, so you're hearing economists say these tariffs, it's going to be an increase of costs, increase in costs in goods and services. Okay, but the main point to remember is they're a negotiating tactic. They're a negotiating tactic that works because Donald Trump does understand leverage. He understands that other countries are putting these tariffs, right, putting these taxes on our services, on our exports, and so they don't have a leg to stand on if they want to claim foul play against us. He knows that. Gerald and I will admit we were more libertarian pre-2016 and anti-tariff. And then when we saw how they were implemented and we saw how it was a negotiating tactic, there you go. People ask me, have you ever changed your mind? I've changed my mind there.
Absolutely. And when we saw the rest of the world, I mean, the tariffs that we have right now in other countries, like protecting their own interests and making sure, like, good example, Boeing, and we talked about car dealers, like, it's insane the amount of tariffs that people have on us. And we're just like, we're supposed to just play along with it.
Right.
Act like everything's okay.
Yeah. Exactly. Well, give you an idea, too. There were a lot of tariffs, again, threatened. Some tariffs were implemented. It's one of the few things that former Vice President Joe Biden kept. Some of the limited tariffs on China. But there were far more that were threatened. Like in 2017, remember the threat of a tariff from Donald Trump if they moved their plant to Mexico?
For Ford, yeah.
Yeah, it was Ford, and they canceled it. Ford canceled that plant, remember?
Yeah.
And then, of course, they started back up. They find a way around it. You just have to make it something that can't be worked around. So Monday, Donald Trump, I need to take a sip of water here, dropped this hammer.
What?
Announced the plan for sweeping tariffs on Mexico and Canada. And by the way, he understands that his posts in the public affect markets and affect global leadership.
Yes.
Remember we used to say, like, what do you think is going to happen once we have presidents or once we have representatives who grew up in the era of social media? We're kind of getting there now where people are like, oh, they said this, I don't care. Oh, they're posting this out there. Yeah, people are just speaking. You know what? We have more of a connection to them. So here's what Donald Trump, and he's aware of it. It can actually affect markets. As everyone is aware, thousands of people are pouring through Mexico and Canada, bringing crime and drugs at levels never seen before. Right now, a caravan coming from Mexico, not Dodge, composed of thousands of people, a Pacifica as well, seemed to be unstoppable in its quest to come through our currently open border. On January 20th, as one of my many first executive orders, I will sign all necessary legal documents to charge Mexico and Canada a 25% tariff on all products coming into the USA and its ridiculous open borders, and it'll stay in effect until drugs and illegal influx, until that stops. And upon hearing the news, I should be clear, Prime Minister Trudeau of Canada had this to say. Sorry, right clip, always the right clip, but here's the other right clip.
And we all knew it was coming, but we hoped it wasn't. And I thought I was going to make it through this, but I'm not. It hurts. And we are less as a country.
How does he look cold and hot at the same time, by the way?
That's because of all the Midol he's taking.
I see.
After that, he enjoyed a nice Ryan Gosling movie marathon.
Oh, yeah.
As for, by the way,
Canada,
as for Mexico, which is...
There's some, actually, we just got some breaking news.
Breaking news?
From Mexico. So the president, Claudia, Sheinbaum, she actually declared that caravans are no longer going to reach the border.
Oh. Read it like a woman.
12, I can't, how do I...
Come on, he does the Trump voice, you got to do the Claudia voice.
Caravans are no longer going to reach the border.
That sounds just like a gay message.
He's no more. He's no more. No more vans to the border. He mean what he said.
Sorry, Stephen. Her last name is Sheinbaum. Oh, so I was like, no more to the border. That's terrible.
No more driving to the border. This is
literally 12 hours after he puts that out, boom, hey, they're not going to reach the border. Now, I will say this. She did get a little lippy on Trump saying, hey, I'm not kidding. I didn't say that to be, sarcastic. She actually did. She was like, look, this problem is created in your country. If you guys would do more to secure your own border, because she can't look incredibly weak. She's like, okay, we're going to cave, but I'm going to look strong.
Yes.
When I say this. And that's your problem, sir. If you would fix it.
Our border? I'm sorry. You have a tiny little border that's letting hundreds of thousands of people come through, and it's our
it's not my job to secure your border. We have drugs in Mexico. That's a way of life. But
we like the immigrants. We said, come to Mexico.
No, that's right. We
work in our Chinese car plant.
We don't want them to go to Mexico, but you have to pay all the monies, and we're going to pay nothing.
Wait,
oh, no, wait. You mean what you say? Okay, we pay the monies.
They have a tiny border.
So this bitch had the authority to stop the caravan at any time.
Yes. This is the point. So much of this is an actual house of cards. It's all a facade. Of course they can. Of course they can. This is the country that lost El Chapo.
Yep. Well, to be fair, it's not her stopping the caravans. It's the cartel. That's why we believe it.
Right.
The cartel is going to stop the caravans because they're the ones that killed all the people in the poster.
Yes,
it's true.
Also, we promise a 20% reduction of the heads of the people crossing on turtles.
You don't got to give them benefits.
No more tortugas.
Now, growing up, we've had a turtle that was a Thanksgiving feast.
Oh,
now,
boy.
big old soup. So Donald Trump went on to announce And this is what. So we just got that news from Mexico. I'm very interested to hear what happens with this next country. He's going to be applying some major tariffs on China. He said, "I've had many talks with China about the massive amount of drugs, in particular fentanyl, being sent to the USA, but to no avail. Not even some avail. None. Representatives of China told me that they would institute their maximum penalty, that of death, for any drug dealers caught doing this, but unfortunately, they never followed through, and drugs are still pouring into our country, mostly through Mexico, at levels never seen before. Until such time as they stop, we will be charging China an additional 10% tariff above any additional tariffs on all of their many products coming into the United States of America. Thank you for your attention to this matter."
I love it. I love it. You know, that's a threat. That's a threat. He's basically listing out his grievances. China, you see that? I appreciate your attention.
And by the way,
to this
we'll
matter.
talk. Yes, we'll talk about this. The taxes, the tariffs on on Mexico and on Canada. It's another way to punish China.
Yes, it is.
A lot of what they do is they send stuff there and they reassemble it. So this is actually hitting China with. This is really all designed to, I would imagine, of course, curb the flow of fentanyl. That's a big one. We'll get
politely,
to that,
of course.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you for your attention.
But to hit
matter.
China.
China has responded.
Really?
Yes.
Are you not? You're not joking?
I'm not joking.
Since we started.
Okay. Now it's a slightly different response. It said no one will win in a trade war or a tariff war. And the idea of China knowingly allowing fentanyl precursors to flow into the United States runs completely counter to facts and reality. So not quite the "I'll stop the caravans."
No.
You know, that's not going to happen.
They're in the phase of,
So-
he telling big lies. That's not true. No
Is there a
fentanyl in China. Come to China. You see no fentanyl. No fentanyl. Fentanyl. I don't see.
Me so sorry.
Only a big wall and happy people.
Big wall. Annoying Mongolian. Other side of wall.
Watch out for General Soul. Very spicy.
Keep out Mongolian. Annoying people.
Yeah, but
Biggest wall. Keep out annoying people. We say no. Go back to Mongolia. You Mongoloid. Mongolia good for you.
of course, there'll be more with that. But I mean, listen, Donald Trump gets people to respond immediately.
Yes, he does. Yes,
Both
he does.
of these countries have responded to these things in 12 hours or less.
And so here's the thing. Of course, in mission control, can we get the tariffs that China has? And I don't know if we have specifically China. Of course, that's a verifiable lie. You know that, right? You can go back and just watch our installment on the Chinese foreign nationals buying up weed farms in Oklahoma, for example. I mean, they have an unbelievable network, not to mention Chinese nationals on campus in the United States. If you believe that they're not producing fentanyl, if you believe that in China they're not taxing and putting tariffs on American goods, if you believe there's no foul play, well, then you would have to be a Democrat today.
Yes.
You'd have to be the same person who believed that, it came from a bat sandwich, COVID. So, of course, CNN did what CNN do.
If you voted for Trump because you thought he was going to bring down the cost of housing, a lot of our lumber, cement, other materials comes from Canada, which means that construction costs are going to go up. Not to mention all of the ways he's going to roil the U.S. auto industry, because a lot of autos cross borders in North America multiple times before they're ultimately finished and sold to consumers. Not to mention the fact that a lot of U.S. manufacturers purchase inputs, intermediate goods like metals and cement and other things from Canada, from Mexico, and not to mention even the retaliation that we should expect. All of which is going to be very bad for consumers, not to mention, again, many of the U.S. workers that Trump allegedly wants to help.
Yeah, it'd be bad for consumers. Almost like she's echoing some of the sentiments from China. Can you bring up that statement again? From this is a spokesperson for. She said, "No one will win a trade war or tariff war." All right, China. Oh, that's right. You have a 21.1% tariff on U.S. imports. It's almost like what we're proposing is comparable to what you already do. This is the America first. This is the difference. No one is saying that there shouldn't be free international trade, but it's not. We just can't be bent over and piped.
Yes.
And it's especially hard to take when that apparatus is coming from a communist country. Okay, so anyone who actually believes China, what are we supposed to do? At a certain just appease communists, just appease communist fascists across the world because consumers don't want to pay anything? And I don't know if you know this, but that also hurts the consumer because American businesses can't actually export their goods internationally. A lot of the market is blocked out for American goods and services. Did you know that?
Yeah, because not only is it blocked out, but they steal our IP all the time.
Right.
All the time. This country is actively at war with us economically, and Trump is trying to fight back a little, and people are freaking out.
Right. Yes, absolutely right. I'm trying to think if we want to get through all these because we're kind of running late here.
Fine.
Okay, so let's go to a few facts. Key fact number one, of course, like I said, Donald Trump is using the tariffs as a bargaining chip. You just saw it with Mexico, China. China's still in the denial phase. Mexico seems like they've reached acceptance. Let's just go to Rana, clip. So in a shocking turn of events, CNN contributor Rana Foroohar, professional Daniel Stern lookalike, admitted that this was a negotiating tactic as well.
I don't want to say that, all right, this is going to be the way it's going to be from day one. Trump says a lot of things.
You think he's bluffing?
I think that what's happening fundamentally now that's different under this president is that the U.S. market will be used as a chit on a gambling table that is the global economy. I mean, that is the way you have to look at it. We are not in trade as usual. We are not in the economy that we've known, frankly, for the last 40 years or so. It's going to be totally different.
So even look, for example, I just gave you the China numbers, but if you look at the EU tariff on American cars, it's 10%, whereas ours is only 2.5%.
Oh my God.
So think about that first.
Those cars helped the Nazis.
So Americans here, you're getting Mercedes, you're getting Audi, you're getting BMW, those cars, and they're not getting a lot of the American cars. Not that all American cars are great. Don't get me wrong. It's not lost on me, but there are certainly some cars like large sedans that are really kind of unavailable. And not everyone in the EU can afford European cars. So they have cars that are like Brio and bullcrap you never heard of in the United States.
I'm sure they're all begging for PT Cruisers and Avalanches.
Yes. Chargers. In Japan,
They might, yeah.
In Japan, there's a 15.5% tariff on American agricultural imports. So think about this for a second. You're talking about we just did EU, China, Japan. So only the United States is to bring in stuff with no kind of tariff? No. The ideal scenario is they don't do that, is these other countries don't do that, right? So that way we all have access to more markets internationally. It can be competitive, not an international government, international free markets. But these countries won't do that because in many areas, they're not able to compete. For more proof, just look at the fact that we're comparing us to the EU. You realize the EU is many, many, many countries, right? The United States, one country, is far more of a powerhouse than the many countries of the EU.
Also,
we
they
have
owe us.
everything. What was that?
They owe us too.
Yes, they do.
Twice,
a little bit.
at least.
Yes, they do.
At least twice. And now, come on, now.
So does Japan. That's a weird one too. How do you take out like that many people and then end up paying them?
It's weird. We're one of the only countries that's ever done it. By the way, Steve Madden pledged to cut its China imports by 45%. There you go. Companies are already responding as well. Not only governments, but countries are responding with this as well. Here's another fact. These countries, not just tariffs, they are screwing us. So Mexico, to give you an example, they need to be punished. And by punished, I don't mean war. What I mean is, all right, you've harmed Americans, and so we're not going to allow you to do it anymore, and we're going to make it sting. We're going to start economically. Do you want to get in line? Since 2021, 8.8 million encounters at the southern border alone. Okay, in 2023, that 1 year, 22,000 pounds of fentanyl were seized at the southern border. Keep in mind, only 2 milligrams will kill a person. 22,000 pounds is enough to kill about 5 billion people. And by the way, it still takes 4 shots of Narcan to wipe the smile off their face.
Jeez. 5 billion people?
In 2023, 74,000 people died from fentanyl overdoses. 74.
George Floyd was in 22. Okay, so it would be in the previous.
Yeah, it throws off.
Or no, 20. Sorry, I forgot the year.
And right now, there's before this president, there was a massive caravan coming to the border as we were preparing this show.
Yeah,
and apparently now that the president said no caravan, there is chaos at the border. We go now live.
think they're in Honduras.
Challenging. Yeah.
Poor bastard.
So yeah, the president. This is the lippy part you were talking about.
Yeah,
She
yeah,
said,
yeah.
If a percentage of what the United States spends on war were dedicated to peace and development, that would address the underlying causes of migration.
What?
It wouldn't address the underlying cause that your country sucks. Not your people. Your country sucks. What? So it's hold on a second.
true.
Peace? What? Is there a war with Mexico that I don't know about aside from the drug war? When you talk about your cartel development, wait. You send 22,000 pounds or allow 22,000 pounds of fentanyl, enough to kill every American in this country through the border, and you expect us to develop your country? How about we take your shit? You're the 51st state. How about we stop allowing the rest of anyone in the world telling the United States how we should run our stuff? And you know what? How about we just say, hey, Canada, we're taking your resources. Okay, that's it. Don't make us fight you for it. I know you got a few Cessna propeller planes with a couple of shotguns, but at this point in time, you have all of these resources. You're not using it properly. We're going to be nice, all right? We're going to make sure that everything is actually cheaper, more affordable. We'll give you more freedom, but your stuff is ours now. Mexico gets to tell us that we need peace and develop if we spent money. What?
Well, if you would spend less money on the wars overseas, then you could pay the cartel to keep your own country safe.
Right.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
It's simple economics.
I
Stupid.
understand.
It's hard to argue with that logic.
Just win, stupid.
Female president.
Yeah, with their opponents dead.
So in Canada, to give you an idea, from January 21 to June 24, illegal immigration there on that border increased by 12,700%. That includes 8,000 people from India this summer alone.
Okay, well that explains.
Oh, they got an immigration problem.
Yeah, that came just this summer. 8,000 people from India. Now, is this to say that we don't want any Indians? No, but what we are saying is, look at what happened in Ohio. 8,000 people in a summer from a country that shares nothing in common with our values, our culture, our society, does not assimilation make. Do you understand that? Have you been to India? And I don't mean some silly white broad saying she's going to eat, pray, love across India and staying at the Hyatts. Have you been to India? They poop in the streets. 8,000 people this summer came across the border. In one season, they come from a country where they poop in the streets.
And rape. 8,000 people.
Lots of rape over there.
And
Lots of
India
rape.
never even noticed.
Think about that. It's not racist to say, no, go back.
To Canada.
Go back. You're not welcome. Whoa, does that mean you're racist? No. You 8,000 people in one season, and if we're talking about Canadian summer, that's like a month and a half.
That's true.
You can't just do this. You're not allowed to. In July, the Customs and Border Protection, they recorded their largest fentanyl bust at the northern border in the last 5 years. Huge.
Both ways.
And by the way, CBC News, which is government funded in Canada, a lot of people here don't realize the corporate media, man. And yes, corporate media sucks, but thank God we have new media, which they also try and crack down on in Canada because they have speech laws. CBC News used to be the only source of news in Canada, government funded, by the way. They couldn't seem to grasp at all Trump's policy on this.
I think this is going to bring a really big challenge if we look at Canada specifically here.
Makeup's a challenge
if
for
you're
her.
going to associate illegal immigrants and drugs crossing the border with tariffs that are two completely unrelated, there's no connection between the two. You're creating a real challenge here because the government does not control necessarily people who are trying to move things illegally, and people will always try to do that. So I think this is a really bold move on him, and it can potentially be extremely dangerous for the economy.
I mean, yeah, I guess he's paying attention to Canada, so congratulations to all of us. Thoughts and prayers to all of our friends in the PMO. Godspeed to all of you as you deal with this. This is insane, candidly. 25% is insane.
It's absolutely insane. Did you hear what that lady just said? It's not really the government's job to the report I just gave you was from the Customs and Border Protection Agency.
The 50% tax rate, I think maybe they should have some jobs.
Yeah, that's literally what the government is supposed to do. It's one of the very few things government find the craziest pseudo-anarchist libertarian and be like, hey, by the way, should the government make sure that dangerous people, criminals, and cartels, should they make sure that we're safe at the border? Like, oh yeah, that makes sense. I mean, come on, I don't believe in no government whatsoever. For her to say it's dangerous for the government to try and enforce The border? I mean, I don't know I don't even know what world I'm living in. You want to act like it's 1984 because we believe that we should have a border? You believe that people should be kicked off of all public platforms for saying that boys shouldn't beat the shit out of girls in sports. And you want to act like it's this dystopian future where we're just saying, hey, let's just have a line around our country like has always existed. Let's go to China, because I'm done with this guy. China, they produce 97% of all fentanyl precursor chemicals. Okay, then what happens is the Chinese sell these chemicals to the cartels in Mexico. Even though I know that Chinese spokesperson said, no way, no, fentanyl, never, how do you pronounce? Fentanyl, I don't know. Let me hear no fentanyl. Yes. And so the more we punish Mexico, the more we punish China. Look, your choice is this. Punish Mexico, punish China, okay. Or keep having tens of thousands of fentanyl overdoses every year in this country and violence and Lincoln Riley situations at the border and Aurora, Colorado. That's your choice. Okay, so if you agree there need to be some consequences for these other countries, including China, here's your choice. War or economic leverage? Pick one. You can't do nothing. It's that simple. And I think economic leverage is something that, thank God we have a president who's actually run a business. Here's the key fact number 3 you need to know. These countries absolutely need our market. We are the top export market for all 3. Mexico, we make up 78%. Jeez. Canada, we make up 75%. China, we're still their biggest export market with 15%.
And that's like they're exporting to us or we're exporting to them?
They're taking in our stuff.
They're so importing our stuff.
Or sorry, they're exporting their stuff to us. I mean.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah, they need our market. They need to export to us because we're the ones who buy the stuff. Here's the thing.
Yeah, we're also
crazy.
going to send it, right?
Yeah,
if 78% of their stuff is going to, okay, I get.
People in China, most of the people living in rural China can't afford all these electronics and goods and services. So if you have someone, whipping you, chained to a loom in China or in some kind of sneaker factory, well, you want to sell them to American kids. So to the tune of, with Canada and Mexico, 78%. It's like, all right, okay. So now that huge market share that you want to take advantage of, well, we're going to charge you exactly what you charge us. And we're going to do it because you're allowing drugs that kill Americans to come over and you're allowing cartels to come over. And until you stop it, I think it's really fair. You're just going to experience what we experience with your tariffs. How could anyone be against that?
Got all the leverage.
All
they don't know the facts are against it.
We haven't used it forever, and we're slowly dying. And look, it's going to hurt just a little bit, but Donald Trump is right. China is screwing us over. Mm-hmm. We have no means of production of some very, very important things right now because we've outsourced it to China. I don't normally cite Tim Pool. Maybe we can pull the video for Behind the Paywall, not for any particular reason. Otherwise, he talks about a lot of interesting stuff. I just don't normally do it, but he made a phenomenal point on skateboards and skating community, which I don't care about, but nonetheless, he was absolutely right in how we've exported all of it to China for the wrong reasons. He made a really, really good point. So if we can pull that for afterwards, I think it'd be good. But Donald Trump understands he has all the leverage.
Yeah.
What are these countries going to do? Like, yes, it can be messy. Yes, we may have to pay some higher prices, but most of it's negotiation tactic. But wouldn't it be better if maybe there's a higher price to pay for Americans on something that's not catastrophic? It's not going to tank our economy. And by God, an American company goes, you know what? I see an opportunity to do it better, do it cheaper here at home in the United States. Now we can compete. Thank you for giving us an opportunity to just do it on a fair playing field.
Yep. And you know who could never do that? He could never do that? A guy like Joe Biden, who since his 20s has suckled at the government teat. You think this guy's going to understand contract negotiation in the private market? What about Kamala Harris, whose greatest qualification was blowing a mayor before she was appointed to a seat?
Allegedly.
And then won? No, not allegedly.
No, that happened. No, the only thing in dispute is whether she did oral or not.
Yes.
Well,
she did the other.
She did everything. She slept with the guy and then got a job. These people aren't going to know the concept of leverage, of negotiation, of where you stand in the business relationship. Hey, for all of us folks, this is what you are experiencing, what you are seeing right now. You just saw a response from Mexico. You just saw a response from China. What you are experiencing right now is that, so awful lack of experience from Donald Trump. When people said lack of experience, they meant he doesn't have the experience of Joe Biden or Kamala Harris. He hasn't been in office his whole life. What's he going to do? You know what he's going to do? He's going to handle it like a businessman. He's going to handle it like a guy who's run a multi-billion-dollar enterprise and has had to negotiate with people across the globe on a regular basis. Isn't that great? Hey, isn't that something to be thankful for this year? Can you feel the difference? You have an adult in charge who's actually had to make a buck in the private sector and signs the fronts of checks, not the back of them. I think that is a good thing. Comment below. That's a big thing for me. It's a big thing. As someone who runs a business, anyone who runs a business, that's why you see the support sky high for Donald Trump, because it correlates. You look at his policies, and as someone who runs a business, you go, yeah, okay, all right, that makes sense. Oh, we'll be able to hire more people. Oh, that incentive makes sense. We can provide more benefits, healthcare for. Oh, great, thank you. People who don't get it are the people who never signed the front of a check in their life. All right.
What they mean by no experience is no debt.
Yeah.
To lobbyists or other people or businesses.
Or lining the pockets of the bureaucrats.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No experience, no debt. That's what that means.
Of course. Yeah. You think Joe Biden's going to be harsh on China when he talks about what great friends they are and may have business dealings going on there?
40 years of debt, that guy.
Yeah. No, it's a good point. All right. Let's go to this really quick because the winning just doesn't stop.
I'm thankful for this one.
It don't stop. It don't stop. The winning continued Tuesday. Jack Smith filed to completely drop the charges in his federal case against Donald Trump.
Breaking news from Washington. CBS News has learned special counsel Jack Smith has filed to dismiss the D.C. federal case against former President Donald Trump. The Justice Department charged Trump last year with plotting to overturn the results of the 2020 presidential election. This dismissal comes after Trump won the presidential election a few weeks ago. The Justice Department has a policy against prosecuting sitting presidents.
And for the record, we don't need to spend a ton of time on this. It's consistent with the DOJ, right? This long-held sort of practice that the Constitution prohibits prosecuting a sitting president. However, because he's a prick, Smith left the door open for charges to come back once Trump leaves office. You moron, you should have kept your mouth shut because Donald Trump could just pardon himself.
That'd be awesome on the way out the door. I pardon me.
Yes, exactly.
Maybe that was his last-ditch effort to not get looked into.
Yeah.
Like, if I leave this open, maybe they can just pardon himself, and then they'll just forget about me.
This guy, I'm telling you, he cannot quit and he cannot resign. Whatever you do, you appoint him again and fire the hell out of him. It has to sting for this guy.
Yes, it absolutely does. And, just as a thank you to you this Thanksgiving, a big part of this, if you guys don't remember, we had the DOJ official spokesperson, right? Mug Club Undercover, which was entirely supported by you. Mug Club is now Rumble Premium. The Mug Club Undercover unit is working on some new stories coming up this year. The DOJ spokesperson said, yeah, they're just, this is a political witch hunt. They're stacking up charges, just trying to make it fit because they don't want Donald Trump to be president. Once that came out, all of a sudden, suits started getting dropped. Within the week, Donald Trump we knew for sure, was not going to be in jail and was going to be able to run for president. I believe it was within 3 days. And now, pretty much everything we're looking at being dropped. And that doesn't happen, just like Donald Trump can affect global markets by his posts on social media. You need to understand, too, the outcry that you guys create, the viral component of this, billions of people who saw this story, that's not a small thing. It didn't play a small role in those in government saying, all right, there's enough pressure right now. Eyes are on us. We better straighten up and fly right. For those who don't remember, here's a refresher. Thank you, Mug Club, and now Rumble Premium. For those who want to take part in these moving forward, click that button.
Top spokesman, one of the top people in the U.S. Attorney's Office in Manhattan, and was quoted exactly, quote, honestly, I think this case is nonsense. Now, every real estate person in New York does what Trump did. Nobody's ever been charged with this before. It's a perversion of justice.
It's a bombshell video for Steven Crowder's Mug Club.
Mug Club Undercover
Has been just killing.
goes on to say that he thinks
That the slew of criminal charges against Trump is part of a larger political maneuver designed to derail his political candidacy and to make him a convicted felon.
I thought we lived in a democratic republic where we get to elect the president, not you guys get to throw him in jail when he looks like he's going to win. And that's what this looks like. This is exactly what they're trying to do.
So within 48 hours, there is now a 0% chance that he's in jail before that.
We have some breaking news.
Judge Juan Merchan has ruled on Trump's request to delay the sentencing, that he will in fact delay it until November 26th.
They ought to drop it. They shouldn't delay it. They should drop it. Drop all of it. Drop all of it.
And that's because of Mug Club. And by the way, that reminded me, Geraldo Rivera said that he would fight Dan Bongino. He said, if he's the kind of guy, if I saw him in a bar, I'd square up with him. It's like, what, do you mean when he had cancer?
Yeah, maybe that's the only time. First of all, you're probably not going to catch him in a bar.
No, probably not.
No, that's
Look, he looks physically fit.
Yes, he
And, like he
does.
cares about his body. He's not out in the bar telling sad stories about how dumb he used to be.
Yeah.
Geraldo Rivera is a freaking moron.
Telling old failure stories.
Yeah, that guy is an idiot.
Remember when I
dude.
completely gave away the location of those troops?
Yeah. I used to do a show on Fox. He was very nice, and he had people there who were very nice, but he is an idiot. Now,
Bongino would
I wouldn't even
with
be
that
close.
guy.
Yeah.
No
I mean, he could come out of the room of chemo treatment and beat Geraldo's ass.
Dan Bongino accepting the fight would be bullying.
Yes, exactly. It would be considered intimidation. Speaking of bullying, we're talking about Donald Trump, and right now, obviously, Jack Smith, President Trump, did have some final words for Jack Smith himself, and he didn't mince them.
At the tone, please record your message.
Hey, Jack. It's me, your daddy. Have you heard the new song they're playing on the radio? It's all the rage. A big rage. It's a great song. Wonderful song. Very catchy. It goes, frankly, like this. Hit the road, Jack. And don't you come back. No more. No more. No more, no more. Hit the road, Jack. I hope that you get gang raped. Isn't it a beautiful song? Frankly, the best song. I hear it everywhere. People singing along saying, Jack, I hope he gets gang raped. They run a train. Big old train on Jack.
That's my president. I'm a fan.
You know, yeah.
And
screw around.
Looks like Jack Smith's going to leave multiple doors open.
Yes.
Oh,
he's been he's
It'll
been
be,
taking notes from the Turkey Peep Show.
That'll be a Pelosi situation. He's going to get hammered.
We're gonna we actually have a couple more stories to get to and Thanksgiving chat, but MC Baba dropped his latest single. But before that, hey, look, thank you guys so much. We'll see you if you are not a Rumble Premium member. There will be a Rumble Premium show on Friday.
Yeah.
So you always get it on Friday, but of course, no program tomorrow, no program Thursday because it's Thanksgiving, and you get 100% more of this show every day. You get Nick DiPaolo. You get. I almost just said because we were just talking about Dan Bongino. You get. I almost just said Geraldo Rivera. Oh my God, I can't. You get Donald Trump Jr.
We want them to sign up.
There's a whole lot that you get. Of course, Mug Club Undercover. None of that happens without your membership. And by the way, we'll be announcing after Thanksgiving the co-promotional mug. For new members between us and Rumble.
Yeah.
It's good. We're retired. We've retired the OG mug, but Mug Club is Rumble Premium. You get everything ad free. You want an alternative to YouTube? There you go. Let's get to. You can just click that button. It makes it really easy, and you'll just be able to continue watching as we continue to go on. Because this next story, this is our favorite Congolese DJ.
You're only going to have one Congolese.
I think there only is one.
Is he not a rapper also? Is he a DJ rapper?
I think that's what they.
I call him an artist, personally.
He is. He is. He's an artist. Let's not put MC Baba in a box.
Yeah, come on. The guy's innovative.
Yeah. For those who don't know, he's deaf. And
mute.
And mute.
So he's like a mime in a box.
Yes. Well, he's mute-ish.
He makes some sound.
But he does have a new banger out just in time for us all to give thanks.
That's not quite true. CNN right now. Jasmine Crockett. Deportations will be devastating for Texas families. Nope. Not for Texas families.
No, they voted for it. Yeah, they actually want their homes. They want homes, and they want jobs, and they want.
It might be less than good for families here illegally.
They don't want to get hit. They don't want their car to get hit in a parking lot and have to pay for it themselves because there's no insured driver.
Do you think she stylized
Right
the
there.
hair based on where the camera would be, by the way?
Absolutely.
Like long hair on one side, it's not quite like cornrows or anything, but it looks pretty close to that.
I think,
on the other side.
It is.
I think she's pretty.
There are roses. She is
You do?
pretty.
I think she's a pretty lady.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I could do without the Skrillex hairdo.
Yes.
I need some earmuffs, but yeah, she's cute.
No, she has her own set mud dangly ones. I don't. Do you ever feel like when you see a drain, you want to pee down it?
Yeah, I do.
Most that's a problem for me in that bathroom because I look at it and I reflexively like, no.
Wait,
no, you can't.
I've gone in there before and wondered why somebody tried to pee down the drain.
I didn't try to pee
so
down the drain.
horribly. Why did you do that?
I didn't.
Whoa, whoops.
There's one on the floor you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yes.
I didn't do it.
Why would you? You've
But I
got a
wanted to.
toilet right there.
Question to you, chat. Do you be honest? Do you pee? You ever pee in the shower? I don't think that's.
I pee in the shower all the time.
That's not what we asked.
I pee in the
No,
bath.
but that's why, because it's identical to the
It's
drain in my
not
house shower.
why.
I've never used the drain, but when I'm in the shower, it's like my eyes just go straight to the drain.
Yeah, but you've got water running. It's
Warm
the
water.
natural kind of thing. It works.
I have a routine. It's the clear in my nose. I go in. The drain is. I mean, they're all
a target.
Yeah.
So
that's the target.
Well, as long as you don't have like water backing up into the shower, you're
Right.
fine. You're just peeing and it's going straight.
No, I
down.
just
You're
have
good.
mud daubers. I've had that problem.
Yeah, that's
No, I get out. I get out of the shower and I stand over the toilet dripping.
Oh, there's nothing worse than when you have to go.
And I have carpeted bathrooms. It's dude, it's a
What?
problem.
Is it all the way up to the
smells in
toilet?
there. Oh yeah, I got moldy mildew carpets in my because
Yeah,
I'm always
I moved
getting
it.
out of the shower and peeing, and I'm just dripping and peeing. I don't even hit the sea. I don't need to.
There's
I
nothing
just-
worse than when you're like at a beach or a public pool and you have to go numero dos and you're still wet and you go to it's a different it's a difficult experience. I don't know what it is.
Well, the beach is easy. You dig a
can't
hole.
Yeah.
Bury me in the sand, guys.
Yeah, we can't drop it. So.
Gerald knows all about the
I
digging.
do actually. I have a picture.
What?
He has a
I have an incriminating picture. It's actually
because we were on a beach that was very far from a bathroom. So I was laying down.
It's
I moved
about
the
30
towel
feet from a
and I
bathroom.
dug a trough so people couldn't tell. I peed in a trough and then
You laid down on your stomach.
That's nothing. That's pee.
Well, it was funny because people
on,
were
people
walking
pee.
by, and I'm like, I was just taking a nap.
Just getting some sand.
Any hole will do.
This back is pasty. Yeah, but why are your butt cheeks clenched?
Why did you have a shirt on?
Why did you just suntan for 30 seconds?
Yes. 30 seconds. Come on. Got to pump those numbers up.
58
I knew a guy.
degrees outside.
I knew a guy got kicked out of the Rangers for peeing on a church.
What? How did you pee on the entire church?
Well, he didn't pee on the entire church.
That's
They
some
covered it.
art.
It wasn't like a
Weird.
dog marking his place of worship. It was
Do that.
just a drunk guy, and there's a church, downtown, and he peed on the side of the church, and someone called the cops. The cops came, arrested him for public intoxication, and
Well, I think that's what got him kicked out.
peeing.
Not the peeing on the church part.
No, peeing on the trunk.
Yeah, I'm sure if it was a tree, they probably would have let it slide.
You're not gonna get. You don't get
Really?
arrested for being drunk in public intoxication for just being public intoxication.
No,
do
peeing,
something.
yes.
Yeah,
but well, the way you set this up is that somebody
Also,
took
knowing
offense to him peeing
if
on
someone
a
goes,
church.
"There's somebody peeing on our laundromat," the cops aren't coming.
No.
You could be peeing in the washing machine.
Yes.
The cops aren't coming.
Oh, I know that
You
well.
say, "Oh, they're peeing on First Presbyterian." Whoop whoop. They're there,
Yeah,
baby.
yes, exactly.
That's a long piss.
That's a
too.
hate crime.
Did all of your sons go through the phase where they just once they realized they could pee on a tree outside, they preferred just pee outside? Pee on anything?
We were at a birthday party.
Oh, yeah.
No,
That's right.
like this. It happened
Oh,
again this
okay, it did-
weekend. We were
okay.
at a birthday party and we're all talking, parents over there. And I look over and David's arcing it over there by 4 people, just like drops his pants all the way to the ground. I'm like, okay, sorry.
Yeah, I know. It's just, but I think it's hilarious.
It
I have
is-
to say
it's
it's
pretty
not.
funny.
I
It's
feel like, no. Only a tree and only when daddy says it's okay.
My son is obsessed
With
with
peeing.
it. He hasn't done it yet. We are still potty training, so he hasn't mastered it.
Okay.
But we went to Six Flags this last weekend, and I had to take him to the bathroom because he had to go potty. I had to go too. It's this tight little area, so I'm like, he goes, and I take him off, and I go, put him here. I go, you wait there. I got to pee too, so I'm peeing, and he like reaches his head
Of course, he wants to see what's going on.
Yep. Yep.
Listen.
And then no, I swear to God. And then he goes like that because my son has to compliment everything. He's such a sweet little boy.
Oh, no.
Trick or treating. He's like, I like your lights. I like your decorations. I like your yard. So he's like, and then everyone in the bathroom hears, I like your penis. Oh, no! Stop! Also, why doesn't your mom say that?
Can we clip that one?
Yes. Yes, indeed.
All right. Okay.
Listen, when you figure you have a built-in water gun, you're gonna use it.
Of course.
Okay?
Yeah.
Of course.
Oh, have you ever peed outside on mushrooms?
No.
Dude, it is a religious experience.
You mean on mushrooms or onto mushrooms?
No, you're on. Well, double bonus if you see some fungus out there, but no. But you go. I've done mushrooms out in the woods, and it feels amazing to pee.
Okay. All right.
On
yeah. Well, hopefully the previous guy didn't do it on your mushroom.
You find a couple portobellos, you let it loose.
Boom.
Add a little bit of funk to that.
Sir, enjoy your Kroger.
Enjoy your mushroom.
Yeah.
I hear the lightning and thunder. I start peeing on the road.
Sorry, he's back to the white caps. Okay, let's continue with the special Thanksgiving chip. But before that, again, we didn't finish it because we had to go to the restroom. But favorite composer, MC Baba, this banger, we all give thanks.
Milk cartons? New car? It sounds like you, Steven. It does. Doesn't it sound like Steven? Like he's doing that voice?
And it sounds like he's getting winded.
The production value has noticeably gotten better.
Yeah, they think more in the production value than that Accord or whatever they were driving.
You know, they're probably telling those dancers, like, well, this will be seen by like 5 billion people.
They spent the whole country's GDP on
They had to kill a couple priests for those outfits. A couple missionaries just dead in a ditch.
Come on, Congress.
You know, at what point do you just go, hey, not all people get to be all things?
Well, listen, his career.
Hey, come on. They worked all day in those diamond mines. They deserve a little fun.
That's right.
They just sent him instead of a canary. Yeah, let's go that way.
Love it.
Wait, was that the same song?
No, that was
no. I think that was the signal.
Yes.
Yeah, the Brazilian singer's a little pissed off. Like, my career could have been so much better.
She can't hear it.
You got to drop another single.
Yeah, well, guys, relax. There's a Christmas album coming out.
Yes, there is. Yes. Exactly.
Now that's what I call what?
Oh, here it is.
Oh.
Yeah, Gerald's just gonna keep going until you play it. So
yes,
you gotta,
he's gonna keep.
I was doing White Christmas.
You know what I noticed that time? I love more than anything is the hair flip.
Yeah.
Like that's my little flair on it. Very Miss Piggy-esque. Literally flips it like Miss Piggy.
Yes. My favorite part is why doesn't she have teeth?
Ow.
Well, it's a transgender, right?
Oh.
Well, they trans the teeth.
It's not a meth gender.
I think it's a transgender deaf person, right?
Yeah. Well,
it's like you can look at it. There's like,
and this is why Donald Trump won.
Dominant.
Because for too long, people had to sit there and go like, oh yeah, of course.
Totally normal.
I'm not allowed to laugh at this.
I know.
You are allowed.
That's the thing is like, that's what people are mad about. Like, it's not that we want to, I'm out here just like putting this on a poster. I mean, I guess there are millions of people going to see that.
Sure.
But, you know, it's not like we're out here going and making fun. It's like, dude, this happened.
You put
she
them up.
won.
You televised it.
Yeah, it was televised. She won, for crying out loud. A bunch of other chicks had to go, congratulations.
Yes, exactly.
But you're no teeth having deaf ass.
Yeah, exactly. They've been bred for this since birth.
Right.
In these South American countries, right? It's like, do you have any idea? Like that's all
actual
they do.
hotties.
Yeah, actual hotties. They learned a skill. There's some bitch on the side with like she's ready to juggle. She's like, well, okay, all right.
Guess not.
I guess not.
Gonna juggle knives.
I guess I just better start sprouting.
They're crying like, I don't know how I'm going to explain this to Mr. Carville.
Yes.
He told me just a week.
Beauty pageants are for women, stupid. Can't be going out there expecting people to play along when you have a blind, deaf tranny singing, we're saying it's beautiful. It's not beautiful, it's ugly as fuck. I hear better sounds coming out the bayou in my backyard.
Hey, so research did pull in that Tim Pool clip. If you
Yeah, let's show that, and then we'll take some special Thanksgiving chat from you guys. We're glad to be here with you.
All right, here we go.
Lost because these scumbags, these companies, they don't care about the long term. They're addicted to short-term gains, and they think to themselves, because I've talked to these companies, and they say, look, just do the China board. You got Chinese slave labor, $10 a board. You can sell them for $70. You'll make $60 a board. And I say, then what happens to the shops? What happens to the factories in the United States? Why are we sending wood from Canada to China to make a board to send it back here? And they're like, because the Chinese will do it for 50 cents. And I'm like, I want people who are specialists who say, I can make a skateboard. I know how to take the wood, I know how to put it in the press, I can cut it, and we can innovate. Instead, what ends up happening is all these shops go out of business. All of these factories go out of business, and they struggle to keep up, all because these greedy short-term morons are like, I'm going to make $50 per board this year. And then 4 years, 5 years, 6 years later, there's no one to buy skateboards anymore. And now we're wondering why it is the biggest media outlets in skateboarding have collapsed, why pro skateboarders are now destitute. And it's because they sold off the industry to China, where all the garbage clothing is made. The brands have died. It's all centralized under one Walmart. No offense to Walmart. It's not Walmart specifically, but a corporate generic garbage brand. I don't want to live in that world. We need local factories.
This guy couldn't understand skateboarding less.
He was trying to
I don't know how you kickflip your way out of this one.
Maybe you should do a pop shove it. Change directions.
Maybe you should do a hard flip and shut the fuck up.
Is that when you ride Goofy style?
Yeah, I do ride Goofy. No, that's a good point by
It
Tim.
was a really good point. He was not just talking about the death of the industry. He was talking about the death of the culture.
Yeah,
because the industry was a part of the culture.
He's absolutely
He's been talking about it for a while, too, by the way.
I was a skater for like, maybe 3 years until I kept breaking boards because I was so giant.
Yeah.
And had really cheap boards that probably came from China.
Yes.
So I guess that happened. But no, I understand it. Like that, they were intertwined together. It was like a part of an entire community. And when you offshore half of it.
Yeah.
And I think part of it
started
is
with shoes, too. I mean, it's a huge shoe industry.
It's shoes, it's clothing. Like you had the X Games, you had Tony Hawk. He was on games. He was everywhere doing everything. Like it blew up for our generation.
Yeah.
And it just went away.
I don't know what people are going to say, like, oh, your mugs in China. Well, actually, we wouldn't be affected because we can't get these in the States. Well, now we're moving on doing a co-promotion with Rumble. But
we're working
we're going
really
to try
hard to
to,
find
but
that.
we couldn't find the place to. So it'll have to be a different mug. We couldn't find a place stateside. And again, unfortunately, that's because they get run out of business. And often also it starts with subsidization, where the Chinese government goes, oh, we can undercut, kind of like a public option with healthcare. Oh, we can subsidize it to make our costs so low that no one else can compete. And then the costs start going back up.
Yeah,
it really is.
It's also a mug too. There's a difference. You can buy stuff from China. But
we wanted to get it
it's
from
a
the States.
specialized a product.
Well, then we
there's
were
a big
even
difference
looking-
between a skateboard you get at the shop that's made by
Sure.
Baker, and it's got independent trucks and stuff, rather than the one you get at Walmart that's just flat. There's no edges on it. The grip tape's not right. It's not put on right. They got the wrong layer. They didn't press it right.
Yeah.
It's a big difference.
Well, these are etched and then painted here in the States. That's the specialized job, but there just weren't enough people who could meet volume in the United States. And that's a problem with a lot of manufacturing. And we tried to look at like Taiwan.
We looked at South America. We looked at other Asian countries.
I think we looked at Indonesia. And either way, these are communist crap holes. But so is Detroit.
Yeah. By the way, so it's funny you mentioned the cheap, crappy stuff. Didn't the left hate child labor? Weren't they all over everybody when Donald Trump was president?
I think if you look back in history, they've always been for it.
Uyghurs, yeah. Well, they said at least recently that they were, and now that Donald Trump's talking about tariffs and things, he can't do that. That's a trading partner. What are we gonna do?
Yeah, exactly.
You can have child slaves, just don't put them in a cage.
Hold one
man.
position.
Yeah, exactly. Don't separate the family, man. It's a family slaves.
Yeah,
we'll put them all over there.
Yeah, that's a good point. They want effectively slave labor here. That's the backbone of our economy. What?
Their problem with Aunt Jemima was that the family wasn't with her.
Oh, yeah, that's what it was.
Aunt Jemima, Uncle Ben, why you separated?
How much you want to bet that some of those come back? Donald Trump. You guys want to place bets? Aunt Jemima or Uncle Ben? One of them will.
I'm hearing, and somebody tell me in research if this is real or not, but I've seen this. either a petition or an effort to bring back the name Redskins instead of Commanders.
That's we did. We talked about that here.
Is that real?
A long time ago.
Yes, it is real. I saw this story yesterday. It's more about the logo. They're actually looking to bring
The
back
logo?
even
Okay.
more than the name. But yeah, it is apparently in talks.
Yeah.
Okay.
I bet you most thrilled about that are Native Americans. They're like, hey, don't whitewash. We're not pussies.
Yeah.
No,
We're not
there's
the
it's
Commanders.
actually the logo is modeled after a guy.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
modeled after like a super macho,
bad
tough
dude.
ass
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah.
Well, and so
I think and I might get this wrong, but I think it's somebody that's related to him.
Well, you know, I think
That's
my
heading
dad
this
announced
up.
that the most beautiful jersey in all of sports for a while was the classic Chicago Blackhawks jersey. That was a great jersey. Yeah, Noodles. That was. Do they still
Only
have
if
that?
you like
Same one.
hockey.
Yep.
Okay.
I mean, obviously it's updated, but yeah, same
updated?
general logo.
Yeah, but the classic one, I
Hockey,
knew
whatever.
the classic one was intimidating. It was imposing. It had more colors in a lot of jerseys. Like it really stuck out. Yeah, that's a look. Hey, that's one thing they were really good at. War.
I mean, they weren't the best.
No.
I'm saying they were.
The
you know, they-
Braves, the Braves too got a nice jersey.
Good.
Yeah.
They got the tomahawk on their jersey.
Yeah.
It's really nice. The Indians were.
Chief
it
Wahoo.
just sucked.
You know who doesn't
Indians?
care about any
It
of
was
this
never
crap?
cool. It was kind of
College
boring.
sports. None of those guys care. You've
No,
literally got the
Seminoles
Florida
and the
State Seminoles.
Aztecs.
A guy rides out on a horse and literally spears the field, feathers galore, like all this stuff. Like they're like, yeah, screw you with your whole like whatever stuff. And then you've got college kids there.
Yeah.
They're doing it themselves. They don't care. There's nothing.
Yeah, there's tons of college names with college mascots like the Seminoles, the Aztecs,
yeah.
Sun Devils.
You know what I think is a big reason that we'll take some chats here, but that young men, Gen Z men, broke for Donald Trump. I think a big reason is, remember, it used to be a joke, right? It used to be, whether it's Animal House or Van Wilder, go through the ages, like,
Yeah.
okay, sororities, hot chicks, college, right? Good-looking girls. It's not the case in college. Feminism makes women much more unattractive. Women are getting bigger. They're gaining weight. They're getting lesbian haircuts, even if they're not lesbians. And I tell you that a lot of young men are probably looking around going like, what happened to the college experience?
Well, and a lot of very pretty girls are very unattractive.
Yeah.
What they say and do and think.
Take a pretty girl.
Just
Take
in general.
a
Guys
take a
can
girl
do the
who you
same
see
thing. I'm
as
just saying, like,
yeah.
it's-
Take a
there's-
girl who's very pretty.
Yeah.
Now add 40 pounds and shave half her head and add a septum ring, and like that's what you're looking at. And I guarantee.
Or take away all that stuff and add an OnlyFans.
Yeah, that's another one too.
Exactly.
Where they feel like they kind of have a pick of that.
Or an Instagram page that you see everything on. You're like, oh, well, I mean, everybody saw this. I mean, what's left? The nip, I guess.
Yeah.
Let's go for it.
Yep. Yep.
Here's your
All right.
Blackhawks
Less to
jersey.
desire.
There you go. That's a nice jersey.
Very nice.
Yep. Let's grab some Thanksgiving.
That's
we have
hockey, right?
We don't have,
Yeah, that's
stinger?
hockey.
Oh, we have a special stinger for a special Thanksgiving.
Oh.
We have a
Oh.
Tuesday stinger.
Oh.
Checked.
Oh, Steven's like,
It's not even, Tuesday's not even Thanksgiving.
Tuesday. Well, it has
Here,
to
hold
be.
on a second. Hold on a second. Everyone else be quiet, but keep my mic on and replay the stinger. We'll give us a little festive flair.
Checked.
Nailed it.
Feel better?
Oh, yeah,
I
yeah.
think we all feel good about that.
Yeah, I gobbled it up, dude.
I can't do any more jokes. I'm stuffed.
No,
Let's grab
Oh, stop it.
some chats.
You guys are really hamming it up.
Oh, God.
Ah,
For
jeez.
some reason, that one was more offensive.
You're such a sweet potato.
That doesn't even make sense.
Yes, it does. What are you talking about?
Yeah, it does.
Oh, because you're not sweet.
Yeah.
Oh.
Come on. Don't take it too hard, pumpkin.
And you hate pumpkin pie. Stop it. That's not your joke.
I saw gravy, baby.
Take my pie out of your mouth.
Hey, you want to roll?
Yeah, let's go. Roll.
All right, shut your pie hole.
Okay.
Decent question asker asks.
Just gonna start.
I won't be able to visit family this year on Thanksgiving. Any fun recommendations for those spending the holiday alone besides day drinking? Thankful for your all's show.
Thank you, decent question asker. Gosh, some tips. Well, I mean, I'm sure you probably have some people around, like every now and then, just got too big as this company got big. We would have people, if they were new in town at the office, they'd come over. So if you want to be with family, there's usually a way to do it. Otherwise,
friends. There's a lot of public things you can do too.
Are there?
There's a couple things. So my wife will be the first person to tell us because she hated it. She always had to work on Thanksgiving.
Okay.
The movie theater is open.
That's true.
The movie theater is always open. Also, you could just have some fun. Set up a fun photo shoot of your own alone Christmas or alone Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Make a little tiny Thanksgiving meal. It'd be cute. You'll get a bunch of likes and talk to people.
Yeah. So listen, I've being alone on Thanksgiving or being very we went through a period of time where we only had like 3 of us and we were used to like really big gatherings. Right. And so it's just people out of town and different stuff that was going on. and it didn't feel quite as festive. We all felt the same way, right? We enjoyed each other's company. Figure out a way to get out. I hate it that people have to work on Thanksgiving. It's something that really bothers me. But if you're alone and there's something going on that you want to go participate in, I highly recommend it. Otherwise, like if you've got family and friends, please don't go out on Thanksgiving. I get that it's hard to cook, but that means somebody has to work.
Yeah.
And I get that they make a little bit of money on that.
They make a ton of money, Gerald. I did it a couple times.
I
Huge
did it
tips.
too.
They love it. Please go
I did
support
it
that.
too. Yes, no, okay.
I was gonna say, please do that. Because they have to work anyways. They're gonna be there regardless of you being there, and you got to tip hard.
I'm against it. I understand that whole point, and I get it, Josh. I used to do it too, but I'm against having people away from their families unless it's an absolute necessity. If
Oh,
it's
you
a
think this guy's
necessity,
got to?
you know what I mean?
Also, bars. I mean,
what Joe's not taking into account is a lot of those places where people are working. The boss goes like, "All right, so I know one of you." Yep, hands just they throw out their shoulder from raising their hand. Double pay. Don't have to see my mother-in-law.
Yeah. Go to a bar too. Watch some football at a bar. A lot of interesting people out there. Maybe you'll meet a veteran that can tell you a half-true story.
Well, you know, the night before Thanksgiving is the busiest bar night of the year.
It is.
Really?
Yeah.
The busiest because people go back home after and they meet their old friends.
I'm kind of sad that I'm not back in Tacoma because that was the biggest show of the year.
Oh,
at,
yeah?
Tacoma Comedy Club was the Thanksgiving Eve show, and it seats like 300 in there. And they would every year they'd have to have 2 shows.
Oh wow!
They'd give it out totally free, and that's the best comic because nobody was traveling. There's no comedy club that's open for Thanksgiving, so no one's traveling. All the great comics, all the headliners are all home for Thanksgiving. So he'd get like a show of all headliners.
Oh wow!
And I got to do it a couple times. It was so much fun. It's the best shows. I wish I recorded them.
I was in Montreal. They did a New Year's show, and it would always do. It was pretty big at the Comedy Nest, and that was fun. And I get to MC it, so it was just kind of was perfect because it was downtown, so people would go. It'd be before before midnight, so you'd have those 2 shows. People were like, oh, it's the perfect thing. Let's go downtown, go to Comedy Club, then go somewhere else. And so that was one thing we did. I don't think Canadian Thanksgiving is not a real Thanksgiving. It's in October. It's just like we want one too kind of thing. So yeah, I would say family, friends, and if not. Then a movie or go somewhere and like Josh said though, make sure that you tip very generously on Thanksgiving. Let's grab another chat.
All right, next chat from Revenant19. Question for Steven. Can we please get a Joe Lewis cam? Myself and I'm sure others would love to see more of Joe. He is the goodest boy after all.
You know what? And I've talked about this because Hopper was on the show so much, and when he died, like people got really sad when he passed away. So I keep it limited, but also Joe Lewis doesn't want to be in here.
No,
he wants to.
We
have his bed, but the thing is,
he's a ham.
He goes out wherever anyone is going to pet him.
Yeah.
So whereas Hopper was always attached at my hip, it didn't matter what was going on. Joe Lewis loves to be out there. If Pops is out there, or people, he just loves people. So wherever there are more people that, and what's funny is every time I go out, he knows the end of the theme song, and he's laying there with his head in his paws. He's like, okay, he knows that I'm coming out.
Yeah.
He's a good boy. And I will tell you this: some people would think that this is but I showed you the video, like Joe. So I'm in a house right now where there's a dog on the other side of the fence. And there's a little bit of kind of a crack the way the fence is designed. And this dog, not a bad dog, and it's his yard, by the way, but he's always barking when he sees Joe Lewis out, and he's kind of sticking his nose through. Joe Lewis completely just ignores him. Like, okay, whatever. But when the kids are out playing in that area near the fence, what happened is one time that dog jumped up and his face came through the fence. Oh! And my son went, and was startled. And Joe Lewis just right at that fence. I mean, he didn't get the dog because there's a fence there, but right away went to stop him. He had a bloody nose from bashing his face into the fence, and I called him back. And I noticed he is so protected, and he circled the kids about 2-3 times before he came back in to make sure everything was okay. He really is it's an instinct of his where he is the most mellow dog.
Oh yeah.
People think he's on Xanax. He's just the sweetest, but you really want that. You want to have that where of course you should never leave children alone with any dog, by the way. But if for some reason something happened where they, I don't know, got stranded in a park, I would feel better off with them having him with them than without.
For sure.
He would give his life for those kids.
Yeah.
And what's funny too is he's not like a golden retriever or a Labrador who's just like, hey, let's play all the time. Like he comes up, he greets the kids, he licks them, he loves them, but they're not really his play buddies. Like he doesn't play with them a ton. He is always near them. He sees them as something he needs to protect.
Right.
And not just, I know it sounds, but when he grabbed didn't even bark, just went for the fence. It was like, warmed my heart.
I love that. I love a dog who doesn't bark.
He doesn't bark a lot.
I'm going for it.
Joe Lewis doesn't.
No, I'm not warning you for nothing.
No, he heard. I could tell he heard Magnus go like, my son. He heard my son go, because it just scared him. The dog just came up on his, and it's their set. And my neighbor's great. He's like, hey, we're gonna get this little thing filled in because they're both their yard. But he's a really, really good dog. So we'll try and fit him in on some more things. But I don't know about a cam because it would just have to be out there because he goes from station to station.
It'd have to be like a head cam or whatever.
Yeah, we can't have it in here too because we would need like an equipment fund. Because just
that
Joe
guy.
Louis walking around, he'll take cameras out and not even notice it. Like, oh my gosh, he drags chairs with him sometimes.
He is not
like,
good
okay.
I started wearing a cup to work.
Yes.
His tail is dangerous.
Dude,
right at
it'll
that
hit
level.
you right there.
Man.
It gets that.
He has
And it's
before.
like a rope. It's just like a heavy rope. Just whack.
There's only one dog I've ever known who had a heavier tail whip, and he was like a Great Dane who was only 2 inches away from the world record. So
wow.
yeah, and even then it was still pretty comfortable. There's something about his tail that just hurts.
Oh,
It's
tail.
almost.
I thought you meant.
Oh. All right, let's grab another chat, but I'll consider it.
They're great for a reason.
All right, next chat from Torque Doctor. Question for everyone. What's your opinion on mixing stuffing into your mashed potatoes? Josh, thank you for your service. Happy Thanksgiving. y'all.
Can I take this one?
Yes, Josh, by the way, is he's
Professional.
he's a very good cook, chef. I don't know the term that you prefer us to use, but he actually does.
Yeah.
I can pretty much only grill and have a couple things, but this guy's always cooking up a storm.
Segregate.
Yep. Okay.
Okay.
You don't want your
All right.
potatoes in a
Yeah.
racial jungle.
That's right. The offspring said it too. You got to keep them separated.
Yeah,
that's right.
When all else fails, take the advice of the offspring.
My question is why?
No, don't mix your stuffing and your taters. I mean, do whatever you like. Do whatever you
There's
like.
more progressive bullshit. The stuffing's got to stay with its own kind. Potatoes go out with your kind. You're a potato. Don't try to be stuffing.
Listen, stuffing is the worst part of Thanksgiving other than turkey, right? It needs cranberry
I'm
sauce.
actually- I don't
stuffing.
stuff- I don't stuff my turkey.
Are you out of your mind?
Listen to what I'm saying.
I don't want to.
It needs more. Who eats stuffing by itself?
Me.
Tons of people do.
You're a moron, and so is everybody else.
No. Stuffing is better than mashed potatoes.
No, I'm not saying that it's.
Hold on there, bud.
Hold on.
I don't like mashed potatoes. They're boring. They're boring.
No, but it needs,
Boring.
you need cranberry sauce with it. You need some gravy. You need something, because.
What are you doing with your stuffing?
Maybe the wrong.
Yeah, you're doing the wrong.
I think you're doing the wrong thing, Gerald. I don't want to say anything, but
stuffing is delicious.
It can
no,
be
it's good.
okay,
I
but
don't
it's
usually
not
stuff my
great.
bird.
We've
though.
heard about your steak, Gerald.
Yes.
Listen, that was one time.
Yeah, it was
I doubt it.
One time too
One-
many.
it was
Sloppy
one
steaks.
time for the ages.
And it was the worst steak I've ever had in my life.
And you made it.
And I have had steak in a country devoid of beef. Okay, like I know.
Had jerk steak.
I almost stopped eating it before they did.
You
and
were
I was
like, I think there's something wrong with it. I was
there's
like-
something wrong, and you're like, yes, the preparation, but you didn't say it out loud.
No, in my head I'm going, you mean that there's zero sear?
It was worse than that. It tasted like mush, like steak. Raw would have tasted better.
It was like sous vide without a finishing sear.
There's something
It was
wrong with the
worse.
steak. Oh, this is steak.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
I had no idea.
That's a
I thought it was a
mistake.
pate.
I thought you fed a mother bird roast beef and had it regurgitated into my plate.
But thank you for cooking.
Do whatever you like with your stuffing and your potatoes. I don't, I don't care what you do in the bedroom, but I wouldn't. I don't do it. I like the individual tastes of things. That's what I like about Thanksgiving. There's so many different dishes.
Yeah.
It all goes in one plate. You get the little bit of the sweet potato, the marshmallow, and the cinnamon. It goes into your mashed potatoes a little bit. Maybe it gets on your turkey. That's kind of nice.
Yeah.
But I don't think No.
No.
I mean, if we're gonna make a hard statement here,
I mean, I'd recommend against it.
I don't like you if you do it.
Yeah, that's true. That's fair.
You know what? Hey, I haven't done this in a long time.
Asshole.
I wouldn't go that far. I haven't done this in a long time, but a little bit of a wine tip for Thanksgiving, because a lot of people ask that. Like Pinot Noir typically goes really well. So for a red wine lover, Chardonnay is typically really good on the white wine side. So pretty easy stuff. If you're gonna go with cab, you need to have like prime rib, or you need like a steak component there. Cab can go well with like some of that other stuff, but it's probably not. So
real
Pinot
quick.
Noir, Burgundy, if you can do it. So
Gerald, have you made your stuffing with wine?
I don't think I've ever made stuffing. I've only partaken.
That would make
in
stuffing good. I would imagine.
Yeah, a lot of people
think?
make it with wine. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Good to know. Yeah.
Well, I think
Red wine. Oh my God!
Have we ever used that?
Nope.
First time.
Oh, it's it. Your holiday season is here.
I've been waiting for that one.
Thank you, Santa.
Happy Hanukkah, Crowder. Oh, and it couldn't be more perfect at the same time as It's Your Worst Nightmare on CNN.
It's a live show, folks.
It's like God just said, here's everything you love.
I am thankful for that stinger.
It's a worst nightmare.
Noodles reminded me that I had that. I'm like,
I saw some
okay.
gesticulating over here.
It's your worst nightmare.
I
Your
saw
guest
that.
is mixing your stuffing and your mashed potatoes.
And serving chowder.
You got to execute them, but you don't want people to notice. Yeah,
I was looking at chat. I'm like,
hate all
yeah,
that.
nobody asked for wine tips. So
No.
I'm getting them with this.
No, actually, do you have any? Actually, I don't know if you have
No, I'm
access
not
to a
doing
couple
it
of
again.
bottles because I could use some for the guests.
Well, I could, but apparently that's useless.
Well, it's not useless to give them to me. It's useless to talk about. That makes sense. I've also heard though too. You can, like at the end of the day, you kind of drink what you like, right? So
Of course.
If someone likes cab,
Oh, you don't have to humor me. I'm
No.
fine.
no, it makes sense. It makes sense.
Hey,
that-
chicken are like Gab.
I don't like
Pinot
turkey. I'm,
Noir,
not gonna lie. I'm not a big
Jizz,
fan
I'm
of
a
turkey.
cultured individual. I like wine. You guys don't. That's fine.
I'm just not a big fan, honestly, of like the Thanksgiving meal. For me, in general, it's not my favorite. I mean, turkey, okay, but like if it, now the difference, like sometimes my mom used to do a New Year's like a prime rib that she would do with
Yeah,
scalloped
those could be really
scalloped
good.
potatoes. Like that's
Yeah.
something that I'll get really excited about. Turkey, it's like okay, all right.
Scallops are my favorite potatoes.
Mashed potatoes, you know, I know it's an unpopular opinion. I've never really liked them.
I like them. I never actually. You know what? The instant mashed potatoes that like take 45 seconds to make are actually really good.
Are they?
Oh yeah, there's one that's phenomenal. I was like, wow, I don't like that. I like this, but it's good.
I prefer sweet potatoes, and then you know I like the stuffing. So that's kind of I go stuffing, sweet
Do you
potatoes.
do celery in your stuffing?
I've never done the stuffing myself. That's not something I do.
I mean, do you eat it with celery? Does it have a lot of celery?
No, not a lot.
See, maybe that's where I'm going wrong because I think my grandmother, God rest her soul, she was fantastic, would make stuffing, but it would be like, you know, the more celery that could be in stuffing, the better. And I was just like, I was picking my way through
So
it.
it was a salad?
Yes.
Yeah.
Also, too much fruit in stuffing. I don't like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Too much. I don't really like the whole like fruit in normal foods that much.
I don't
It's
think
gotta have
fruit
texture.
goes in stuffing.
But people do it.
I also don't think celery has a flavor, Gerald.
It doesn't. It just tastes. It
adds a
tastes
texture.
Like
Oh, texture?
Yeah.
Yeah, which
I like
You're
the
biting
crunch.
into like a watery thing, you know, and you're like, it's stuffing.
yeah, I'm not a big fan. So all right, let's grab some more Thanksgiving chats.
All right. Next chat from Mr. Never Miss. Question for Gerald. As a Christian in dating age, I want to date a girl from church, but she was frisky before salvation, to say the least.
What, you have an OnlyFans?
Can I get some advice on that, Josh? Thanksgiving for your service.
Okay. So Christian dating age, you want to date a girl from church. Let me just stop you at from church. Just because somebody is in church does not mean that they share your values, right? As a Christian person. So it is sometimes a little bit better place maybe to meet somebody, but you have to go into it just like you met somebody, you know, at some random place, a bar, whatever, right?
Right.
And do some background. And obviously if somebody was frisky before, there can be conversion moments where you're like, hey, I want to stop doing what I've been doing in my past, and I want to go forward in a different way. That's fine.
Yeah.
And so just make sure you understand kind of where that came from, and also if they're committed to waiting and doing what you want to do in that process. Now, you also have to understand like where you are. If you're in a position where you could be easily kind of swayed, somebody who has already had sex and done those things before going into a relationship is probably not going to be the person that puts on the brakes if things go that direction. So you have to be very, very, very comfortable with where you are, what you want, and you have to come to a kind of a meeting of the minds on this stuff. It's hard enough as it is to wait and to kind of put those things aside. It is one of the most, this is probably not said nearly enough. It is one of the best investments you can ever make in relationships is to wait on all of that stuff.
Yeah.
And people don't. I didn't do it the way that I wanted to. I got close, but I did not in any way, shape, or form get there.
We don't need the
wish I
details.
would have. No, but I'm saying like it would have been so much better. I've even though my wife and I didn't, like we were able to kind of wait until we got married. We both would agree like, hey, yeah, it would have been better off if we had not.
Well, I would also say one thing, yes, and I would say the church sometimes fails people because let's be honest, right? The church is not filled to the brim with only people who've been raised in the church their whole life, right?
Yeah.
No,
So
it's not, by design.
right. I think the primary
Yeah.
it's
the goal.
Yeah, what's
wanna
most
bring in new
important,
people.
the primary indicator is are they, in other words, I would much sooner take someone who has lived that, let's say, a life that is coming toward the cross than someone who is walking away from the cross or someone who's just kind of walking cross congruent. In other words, you have people who have had incredible redemption stories who have then come otherwise we serve a God that's useless, right? If people cannot be redeemed, that's why Jesus Christ died. So I think the direction they're going really matters. And I also think the church has failed people. And of course, right, the biblical view of this is you wait till you're married. There's no way around that. Now, no one's perfect, but there also needs to be a filter, since especially a lot of people are waiting and going through second adolescence. There's a big difference between when you say frisky. Do you mean this is someone who is incredibly promiscuous, or do you mean this is someone who, again, maybe has come to the cross later, but was, having premarital sex in monogamous relationships. There is a big difference. Sometimes Christians will say sin is sin. Well, okay, if you want to talk about in the eyes of God and being forgiven, sure, but not in the way it affects you in your relationships. So someone who, for example, slept with someone who they were in a long-term relationship with is very different from someone who, if they have an OnlyFans, or someone who has slept around a lot, or God forbid, cheated on somebody. That's very different. Those would be red flags, period, across the board. And I would say that all of that needs to be factored in. If this is someone who you believe shares your values, this is someone who's been doing it, who has been sharing these values before you, and has changed, and you feel comfortable with that. Like, those things do matter. Otherwise, no one would get together, because you'd have very few. People are getting married later and later, and you have very few virgins at the age of 29.
We said frisky to say the least. So what that tells me is a very polite way of saying that she used to strip, or I'm not even trying to be funny. Right. I mean, I have people in my family. My CEO used to be a stripper.
Okay.
So still is, I heard. He's on Only Feet and everything. Yeah. But no, that's what I assume. That's what I assume you mean, is that she had some kind of, promiscuity or whatever in her past, and all these things, included. But you're asking the question. I don't think you should care what I think or anybody else thinks about dating someone like this. I don't know if that's what you're looking for, but I will say, you do what you like and do what you love, but don't expect her to. You don't expect that to go away. That's what I think people do. They get like, oh, you're changed, now you're this, and then they forget that past is still there.
Right.
You have to accept somebody for who they are and what they've been through and where they're going. You can't just remember that. That's I'm not going to tell you what to do or judge or anything. But all I'm going to say is, don't let yourself think that's going to change, because it's always going to be there.
Yeah, it certainly has helped shape who she is. And those. What was that?
Update. We got an update.
Okay.
She slept in monogamous relationships and with friends with benefits.
Okay.
Okay. So that's what more along the lines you're saying.
Yeah. I mean, the friends with benefits thing, but that could also be she was in college, and that was, unfortunately, she bought into the lie. So I wouldn't say that, depending on your age, that
she likes a guy who won't be her boyfriend, or she was, sleeping with a guy that she really loved and he didn't love her. I don't know all the situations.
There's a big
but don't let that stop you, I would say.
Yeah.
But
there's in other words, there can be people who are not Christians who don't, who have not been shown that way. But they haven't crossed over into cheating, where they haven't crossed over into knowingly abusing and exploiting people. And I would say that's a different indicator of the heart. In other words, if you've never been taught from your own parents, you've never been taught that, hey, sleeping with people before you're married is wrong, but you inherently know that using people is wrong, that is different from someone who has crossed over into cheating. If someone has cheated multiple times, I would say absolutely not, period. That would always be a deal breaker.
Yeah.
But this, hey, if she's been coming toward the cross independent of you, I don't think it's an insurmountable problem.
And it depends on how she speaks about her past, not obviously getting into details necessarily, but more of like just saying, hey, this is stuff that happened, and this is who I am. For me, is a deal breaker. This is not who you are, right? This can't still be who you are, because that's not what I'm looking for. If you're having the kind of the lens that I had, if it's like, I know that was wrong, and I was really trying, and they were struggling to kind of fight through that. I get it. I went through that exact same thing. I understand that. But I had to come to a place where I was like, look, apart from Christ, this is exactly who I am. I'm going to sleep around. I'm going to do whatever I can to have pleasure in this world, and I need Christ. And so having that realization and understanding and making sure the other person has that same thing, then you can go, yeah, we're both heading towards the cross. And that's something that we can kind of work through.
I would actually be far more hesitant to even go on a date with someone who I met in church, who I knew had cheated, than someone who never goes to church or is not a Christian, but had never cheated on someone, and obviously treated monogamy as something, requiring of respect. That to me, so because you do have that. Because you do have people who check all the boxes and then go like, yeah, and I cheated, but we're all sinners in the eyes of God. It's like, no, that's very different, because that means that you're using people and lying, and you're seeing people as tools for your own pleasure and gain, and that's a different thing as far as a relationship. But
Lane had a really good follow-up. Lane the Brain just said, but is she hot?
Yes. This also, by the way, cannot be. It cannot be overstated.
Overstated,
yeah.
Under or overstated.
This is yes.
Actually, it is she Asian?
Of incredible importance. And any woman who thinks it's not with men, you're dumb. Let's grab another chat.
All right, next chat. I know you are, but what am I? Question for the crew. Are you more thankful this Thanksgiving that Trump is president, or more thankful that Kamala Harris is not?
Oh, that's a new one.
That is, yeah. You missed that one.
I bet she does have a hairy ass.
Yeah.
I don't want to think
That'll
about
be the
that
Indian
with
side of her.
Ew.
That's why she's black.
Not Native American, because they're like a hairless mouse.
Yeah, hairless.
I will say I'm just more grateful overall. Neither one of what I think about most is that shift that you can feel culturally.
Yeah.
The change of tenor and tone. I will say I'm worried about when it does bounce back, because it will, because the counterculture always eventually kind of becomes the establishment culture, but there is a real opportunity right now. And I really can sense in just talking with people in general that the whole everything is racist, everything is homophobic is done. Is done as far as a majority of society feeling like they're walking through a minefield. That is what I'm genuinely most grateful for. I think that a lot of people, I mean, you see it today with the poll, 73% of Americans say, like, yeah, okay, deport people. That would have been unheard of in 2016, 2017. People still would have been afraid. So I think that what I'm most grateful for, and I think, to answer your question, would have come with Kamala Harris, or continued with Kamala Harris, the culture of fear and of silence. That's done. I'm most grateful for that as far as the transition of the administration.
Yeah, and I'm very grateful for that, and I'm also grateful for people finally being willing to go, like the Hitler bad.
Yeah.
But also like nationalism, like you can't just group it all completely together with every extreme example of it throughout history. You've got to go like, hey, we've got a country that we need to protect. We need to protect our borders. We need to prioritize, not completely shun everybody, but prioritize our citizens first. Like there's nothing wrong with putting on our mask first, right, before we try to put somebody else's on. There's nothing wrong with that. For me, that feels like a big relief, where it's like, hey, that's actually being accepted for what it really is right now, which is just a concern for American citizens first, and then we get concerned about everybody else, instead of well, you're just racist, Hitler, whatever, insert here, right? So that I'm very thankful for that, because that is something that has been neglected for far too long.
Yeah, and I want to go back to that before we close. But Josh, what do you?
I was just saying, I'm thankful out of the from the election. I'd say.
Guys, the president-elect scoring a major legal victory as we sit just 55 days out from him returning to the Oval Office. So a federal judge on Monday moved to grant special counsel Jack Smith's request to drop the charges against the president-elect related to his 2020 federal election case. Now, Smith says in his filing, quote, this outcome is not based on the merits or strength of the case against the defendant. Trump posting on his Truth Social saying, quote, these cases, like all of the other cases I've been forced to go through, are empty and lawless and should never have been brought. VP of the Trump Organization, Eric Trump, also reacting last night. Listen.
The irony of Jack Smith is, he brought this case to try and make sure my father never got elected. And I actually think it was Jack Smith who might go down as one of the very reasons my father got elected, right? It's kind of the law of unintended consequences. He will go down as a figure who literally tried to subvert democracy, who tried to put a president in jail for no reason to benefit his political class.
Smith's team also moved to end its appeal of another federal judge's decision to drop that classified documents case against Trump. That judge, Eileen Cannon of the Southern District of Florida, ruled that Smith was unlawfully appointed as special counsel. So here's a look at where all of Trump's legal battles stand now. Trump is no longer facing any sort of federal charges. And in New York, Judge Juan Merchan granted Trump's request to file a motion to dismiss those charges. We are also still awaiting a possible ruling from Merchan on presidential immunity. And of course, in Georgia, Fani Willis's case is paused. So meanwhile, Trump is continuing to build his new team for the incoming administration. He announced last night that James Braid and Alex Latcham will both be returning, and announced newcomer Matt Brousseau. The three will all lead various offices in the White House.
She needs food. This is fun.
Hey, guys. What's wrong with her?
She's been like that for an hour now.
What's for dinner? Okay, I'll take it from here. Feel better?
What even was that? I'm sitting here watching it like, oh wow, I wonder where this is going. I was like, can I get this in a full feature length 70s sitcom?
I would love to watch it. Do you have 27 minutes of that, Jerry? I'd love to watch that full episode. What is it? What kind of what even was that? Kids throwing grapes at Jack Smith. Oh, man. Oh, we have a clip we play a lot on this program. You better load it, Klein. It's Trump. Trump saying you better get sick of winning. You better not get sick of winning because we're still winning. And you're going to get sick of it. You're going to say, we can't take anymore, Mr. President. We can't take it. And I'm going to say, no, we have to win more. Ladies and gentlemen, that's what this show is about. It is a week of Thanksgiving. And so we are going to be thankful for all the wonderful things happening in this nation. Today is Tuesday, November 26th, 2024. Jack Smith drops all cases against Donald Trump, but he leaves a poison pill in there. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it today with one of the greatest law enforcement officials in the entire country, Attorney General of the state of Texas. Ken Paxton joins the program. He's going to tell us a little bit about what must happen next and also talk about the massive victories that Donald Trump has already had with Mexico and with Canada. Overnight, Donald Trump literally reshaping geopolitical relationships through Truth Social posts, having our enemies bend the knee, shaking and cowering the president of Mexico and the prime minister of Canada, groveling on their knees to President Trump. We're going to talk all about it. This is exactly what you wanted to see. And ladies and gentlemen, America's golden age starts right now. My name is Benny Johnson, and this is The Benny Show. So this weekend, you are going, this week, on Thursday, you're going to be presumably sitting around a Thanksgiving table. You're going to be in a hot kitchen. You're going to be cooking or grilling, a mix of both. And you're going to be spending a lot of time with family, maybe some spicy conversations included. You want to make sure that you are locked in and ready to go for that big day of thanks. Ladies and gentlemen, let me recommend Masculine Man deodorant and the products that they provide for men to stay smelling crisp throughout the day. We use them here in the studio, and it does get kind of hot in here. You might notice that we sweat a little bit in the studio sometimes. So we got all these lights all around. I need to do a full studio tour sometime. You got all these hot lights. Ladies and gentlemen, we use Masculine Man every single day. It's because it is 100% all natural, aluminum free. My wife is very crunchy. She likes these kind of things. You can count on bold masculine scents. No white marks, no yellow stains, no irritation. Look at this. Sound is a pound in here, okay? Masculine Man, ladies and gentlemen. You can get them on Amazon. You can head over to masculinemanessentials.com and use the code Benny for 15% off. Masculine Man Essentials, 15% off. Smell amazing, feel powerful, and support an American-made brand. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the moment. This is the day that we have been waiting for. It's not just that Democrat lawfare failed against President Trump. Is that we must take an extra step. We have to, for the sake of our country, for the sake of the country that we wish to build, for the security of you, your children and grandchildren. There must be an important next step. But let's cover first off the joyous news that Jack Smith has officially surrendered and ended all federal prosecutions against Donald Trump. Bro, this guy has the single worst career. If this guy was a professional athlete, he'd be, I don't know sports well enough to know. Killer Klein, who's like an athlete that just is just bombed in their professional career, who just sucks. We do news and politics around here so much. Can you tell we don't run a sports channel? Who's like an embarrassment, an athlete that totally fizzled out. Okay, Klein has some UFC guy. Johnny Manziel says Eric. Megan Rapinoe. Okay, all right, fine. Dude, I got to tell you, Jack Smith's legal career has been just bomb after bomb after bomb after failure after destruction after blow up. He's been overturned already by the Supreme Court 9-0 when he went after another promising Republican would-be superstar, the former governor of Virginia, who was planning on running against Barack Obama. Jack Smith was brought in to be a dirty bomb against that up-and-coming governor. His name was Bob McDonnell. That's ancient history, though. It was about 15 years ago. Jack Smith has since been spanked and been put down multiple times in multiple legal cases. The guy is an embarrassment. He is a legitimate legal terrorist who gets brought in to destroy careers with innuendo and indictments. So like from a legal perspective, you have to look at the table here and understand what they did with Trump. Yes, they wanted Trump in a body bag. That's what they wanted, okay? It took them a long time to send out a tweet that they were glad Trump was safe after the assassination attempt. But they wanted him in a different, I think they wanted him in a physical body bag. They wanted him a very different type of body bag, a legal body bag, which is to say that they wanted to destroy his career through cases they know could never be brought to trial. You know, you could never bring the January 6th case to trial. Trump says, march peacefully and patriotically. None of it's ever going to work. But the goal is the indictment. It's called the wrap-up smear. And it's something very interesting. It's a playbook that Democrats use, and it's utterly evil. Now, I'm telling you, and ALX, can you grab me that wrap-up smear clip from Pelosi? Because it's too good how easily this stuff plays out. Here's how it works. Just getting the indictment. Anyone can get an indictment inside of Fulton County or inside of Washington, D.C. against Donald Trump, okay? Getting the indictments is enough to land President Trump in a courthouse for months on end, as we saw, take him off the campaign trail, and drag his name, smear his name in the press and the corporate media to give everybody in the corporate media enough chum to talk about it, right? You ever see him feeding sharks? You ever see him throw the bucket of chum off the oil rig? See the sharks in the Gulf of Mexico? This is what the corporate press. The corporate press is a wholesale human centipede for the deep state, the super state, the permanent state in Washington, D.C. I don't like saying deep state because it's not really that deep anymore. They're out. They've been dragged out of their holes. You'd see them now. They're on MSNBC. They're so paranoid. You create an indictment or fake news story. You drag Trump through that process. Who cares if Trump's exonerated? You've destroyed his chances of becoming president. You've destroyed him in the American public. You give the news media chum to talk about forever. You merchandise that to the press, and you end up effectively destroying the person. And this has worked for Republican after Republican after Republican after Republican. This has been Jack Smith's job. His only job as a dirty bomb for the Democrat Party is to grab innocent Republicans and drag them through this process. Kavanaugh is a good example of this. Were it not for the iron spine, brass balls, and the superhuman capacity of Donald Trump to absorb staring down the barrel of 480 years in prison, were it not for something that I think is a gift from God, frankly, given to Donald Trump, that normal mortal humans just don't have. I'm not saying he's not a mortal human, but I'm just saying God gives gifts specifically to specific people. And this guy had his capacity to absorb these attacks and to then spin them around, absorb that energy, and Ariokin, like, push that energy back. It is supernatural. It is a gift from God. That and a true cavalry of miracles, a cacophony of miracles, like President Trump turning his head at just the right moment, millimeters, milliseconds, and who knows how many other assassination attempts. We've lost count. I think there's 4 that we know of publicly. Who knows how many other times his life was saved? But it has to be many. That combined together has led us to the apex of this moment, where there's total and complete atomization of the lawfare against Donald Trump. And I'm going to take a second on this, because we were the people to cover it from the get, as it always was, which is bullshit charges on nothing. It's an up. Yes, they would have loved to have put Donald Trump in prison. Could they have gotten some people? They could have gotten a conviction in rigged trials like in New York. They did. They could have gotten 4 years in New York, maximum sentence in New York. And trust me, they were planning on doing that. They could have 4 years in New York. They could have added to that with other charges. They had 6 other operations going around the country. They could have put Donald Trump in prison for the rest of his life. That's a body bag. They could have buried Trump in prison. Trump may have never seen his grandkids again, may have never breathed free air ever again. That was the goal. That was the goal. Could they have accomplished it? Who knows? We'll never know because it's all gone now, but that was the intention. But at the very least, they did accomplish something, which was the wrap-up smear. They accomplished the capacity, and here in this moment of extreme senility, Nancy Pelosi, in a fit of pique, explains exactly how Democrats operate. Praise the Lord that the American public, because of X and because of shows humbly that exist in this ecosystem that are totally independent. I'm thinking of a couple shows that were really mean to Trump when these charges were rolling through. I want to take just a little bit of a pat on the back and a victory for you and for me because you never bought it and I never bought it. ALX, how many shows? How many times we have Kash Patel, Mike Davis, Julie Kelly on this program? How many times have we had to do like 5, 6, 7 straight hours with Alina Habba, Donald Trump getting indicted again and again and again, calling it out for what it was from the start? Many other shows, not that kind of guy, but I'm not going to name them. Many other shows sneered at Trump, said it was done. Shows on the right said, oh, tut. Oh boy, the walls are closing in. People on the right saying this. Our side got tricked by what I'm about to show you. This was the operation all along. Would they have been able to put Donald Trump away forever in prison? Would have been complicated. But they were able to accomplish this. This was the intention. Thank God it didn't work. Here's what they were successful in doing, the wrap-up smear. Go.
Down hospitals and the rest of it. So they don't want them to see that contrast. So they focus on something else. And it's a diversionary tactic. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. You demonize, and then we call it the wrap-up smear. If you want to talk politics, call it the wrap-up smear. You smear somebody with falsehoods and all the rest, and then you merchandise it. And then you write it, and they'll say, see, it's reported in the press that this, and this. So they have that validation that the press reported the smear, and then it's called the wrap-up smear. Now I'm going to merchandise the press's report on the smear that we made. And it's a tactic, and it's self-evident. But I think I'm worth the trouble.
Nancy Pelosi, in a moment of either extreme drunkenness or sobriety, I can't quite tell. You can hear the jangling of the alcohol cart next to her. See the shaking of the martini hand, right? But I'm glad that she said this. I'm glad that she just came out with it and just said their tactics, how they operate.
Yeah.
We create the fake story, the fake smear, the fake indictment. It's illegal for Trump to say march peacefully and patriotically. It's illegal to redress your government, your grievances. Oh, really? What's this? The First freaking Amendment. Oh, that's illegal now. They know it was fake. They merchandise it. They smear Trump. That was their tactic. Give him a mugshot, right? It backfired. It backfired gloriously, ladies and gentlemen. And yesterday, here are the actual. Let's show you. All the same. Jack Smith filed a motion to drop the charges, and Judge Tanya Chutkan dropped all the charges. Boom. I want the actual documents. There you go. We've been talking about this for a long time. They dropped all of the charges, but there is a little poison pill in all of this. It's an interesting little poison pill here that we've been advised. Some of our favorite legal scholars have advised us on that is a bit dangerous in what they did here. They're going to keep these charges alive. So as much as we want to say that they're gone and no legal threat to Trump right now, it's true. The very end here, very end of the charges on the government's motion, at the last line, next page, you're going to see that they say that they are dropping all of this without prejudice for the superseding indictment. Now, that little line there of nomenclature, without prejudice, means that they weren't in the wrong. That because of all these other problems of charging a sitting president, and the DOJ can't ever do that, and they don't have a history of that, and so they have to drop it because Donald Trump's going to be the sitting president before this could ever get to trial. That's what Jack Smith explains in this wordy-ass thing. Without prejudice, with prejudice means these were garbage charges in the first place we shouldn't have brought. Without prejudice effectively leaves the door open for them to use these charges once again against Donald Trump. It's very interesting. I'm not a lawyer. We got lawyers, and our lawyers got on the phone with me and talked me through. We have vicious trial attorneys that represent this show, and explained that the wording here cracks the door open to say we still believe all these charges against Donald Trump should be brought against Donald Trump. And because of all these other circumstances, we can't bring him. But Trump's guilty, and we still believe he's guilty of all of this. This is the problem. This is what must be ripped out of our government, root and stem. These individuals are not the least bit sorry about what they've done. They are, in fact, irritated that they couldn't do it fast enough. Hey, Alex, I need Adam Smith, I need Adam Schiff, Mike Davis posts, please, on X, describing what happens next. Adam Schiff was enraged that he couldn't get Trump in prison fast enough. Not that this was all fake, garbage, but that we didn't do it quickly enough. Adam Schiff posting, Justice Department and the court system failed to uphold the principle, no one is above the law. By neglecting to promptly investigate the events of January 6th, the courts willingly delayed progress in the case, providing immunity. Public deserves better. Julie Kelly, cry more, MFer. First comment. Shut up and take the L. Let this be an example to you, just one, this, the Jack Smith filing, an example to you of that they're not the least bit bothered by what they did to Trump, our movement, how they've locked up January 6ers, raided the homes of the president and like the homes of anyone, terrorized all of us. And they're excited to do it again. All the systems are still in place. All the people are still in place. Most of them will get a promotion. Adam Schiff just got promoted into the Senate from the House. Most of the people, so all the systems and mechanisms and gears and traps are still sharp. And they're still set. The springs are wound tightly. All of the mechanisms of raiding Catholic churches, locking up grannies protesting abortion, storming into the homes of peaceful protesters on January 6th, destroying their lives, not a scintilla of remorse. Not only that, all of the systems are still aimed and targeted and weaponized. The bullseyes are still on the mark to take out Trump. The cases are still technically alive and could be brought the moment Trump steps out of office. So this will hang over his head unless we do one thing. Unless we do one thing. Mike Davis tweet, please. There must be a vicious hunting and I don't use that word lightly. I mean, we need to extend precisely, equally, and oppositely, via the laws of physics, equal and opposite reactions, the type of bloodthirsty, psychotic rampage upon which they went after Donald Trump and his family on the individuals who perpetrated this. Mike Davis posting at the very second that this news broke, Jack Smith and his office must face severe legal, political, and financial consequences for their blatant lawfare and election interference. Election interference. What was the election interference? The wrap-up smear. As we showed you, let's build the blocks here. This includes federal criminal probe for conspiracy against rights under 18 U.S. Section 241. And this would be conspiracy to deprive Donald Trump of his rights, to deprive him of his capacity to run for president in a democratic system, of his freedom, of his inalienable rights to petition his government, grievances, petition and redress his government of grievances, which is one of our first rights found in the First Amendment of the Constitution. Mike Davis saying subsequently, and we just had this up, that the hunters will become the hunted. Legally, politically, financially, nobody is above the law. I say this with absolute clarity and an understanding that this lawfare and these dirty tricks extend to this show. They extend to you and your family and your children. I am under threat. You are under threat. Our children are under threat. If we allow a cancer to grow in one part of the body, it will affect us all and we'll die. This cancer must be ripped out root and stem and must be thrown into the garbage. Those who perpetrated these acts need to be frog-marched, indicted, frog-marched, and imprisoned. They need to be found guilty in fair courthouses of conspiring to rig an election against the will of the people, to use the federal court systems and weaponize jurisdictions like DC, which shouldn't even have a federal court system because it's not a real place. DC isn't real. It's not a state. Shouldn't even have a federal court system. It votes so overwhelmingly for one party and one side, they don't even have representation in Congress. To try a trial there is legal malpractice. Federal courts in D.C. should be scraped from the earth. They shouldn't exist. It's not a real place. They bring these charges against Trump there in order to guarantee results, in order to rig an election, in order to deprive Donald Trump of his rights, of his freedoms. And they need to be incarcerated. They need to be locked up. They need to have the full force of a special counsel looking into them and their activities. And they need to be the ones disgraced, run through the mud, having their work scrutinized, every scintilla, every action, every decimal point, every dollar that was spent, $100 million. Let's get the Trump post up there and read it. $100 million spent on this. These cases, like other cases I have been forced to go through, are empty and lawless, and they should have never been brought. $100 million taxpayer money wasted on the Democrat Party's fight against their political opponent. Like me, nothing has ever happened in this country before, and they have used these state prosecutors, district attorneys such as Fannie Willis and her lover Nathan Wade with absolutely zero experience, but was paid millions. Letitia James, who inappropriately and unethically and probably illegally campaigned on getting Trump, which she did. Alvin Bragg, who never wanted to bring the case against me, but was forced to by the Department of Justice, which they did. Merrick Garland forced them to do it. It was a political hijacking, a low point in the history of the country, and such things should have never happened, and yet persevered against all odds and won Make America Great Again. Yeah, it should never happen, but it'll happen to you and your children. Trust me. Nothing ever stays red or blue forever. Pendulums swing, and unless we cut this cancer out of our system, unless we punish those who brought this upon us, it will continue to happen because all of the machines, all of the mechanisms are still built. We must smash them. You must become Luddites with me and smash the machines. We need to break the systems that brought us to this point. Without that, we are never safe. And so while I am a man of peace, I don't wish, on this program, I don't want to, I don't think it's good for the country maybe to throw Joe Biden in jail. I don't know. I mean, someone's going to have to present the case. But there are individuals who over the last 4 years committed crimes against what it means to be an American and how we have a functioning society. And that must end because that's what we're actually fighting for here. We need a functional society to pass on to our children. And this is not it. The machine must be broken. I am going to state it one final time. The full weight of this program will be to push individuals. We have one of the most powerful attorney generals in the world on the program today. Some of the most powerful legal scholars come on this program. Some lawyers who will be working for Trump will be to push for the investigation and thorough scrutiny and, if merited, prosecution and imprisonment of every individual who broke the law going after Trump, and to serve as a signpost to all who enter here, be wary. If you engage in this, if you try and rip the will of the people away, they tried to take Trump off the ballot. Just in closing here, this little rant. The goal was never to protect democracy. They wanted to take Trump off your ballot. And they succeeded. In multiple states, we have our little Christmas ornament here. In multiple states, you should get yourself a Benny Christmas ornament. In the state of Colorado, in the state of Maine, in the state of Illinois. Hey, Alex, which ones am I missing? I know in these states, they took Trump off the ballot. They succeeded in removing Trump. Removing your ability to vote for Trump. This was the goal. That was the goal. To disqualify Trump from even being on your ballot. Disqualify him legally? Assassinate him legally? Assassinate him physically? Doesn't matter to these people. They're demons. So yeah, it has to end because we don't have a functioning country without it. We live in a third world hellscape without it. So yes, it has to end. Ladies and gentlemen, before we get to some of our favorite legal experts, let's hop on over. Jonathan Turley, we always love hearing his analysis here. Jonathan Turley, this election is the largest jury verdict in history. We saved Trump from dying in prison. And by we, the victory is the Lord's, right? A confluence of miracles kept this man alive. And now it is time for us to never let it happen again. Let's go.
But in this case, Smith was like a captain who would soon be without a ship or crew, and he had to dismiss this case. It wasn't by choice. In many respects, Smith, up until the very end, was fulfilling the stereotype of his critics. He pushed to release information before the election that he did not have to put on the public record. Even the court said it was procedurally irregular, but she still went with it and released the information. It was viewed as nothing short of election interference. He was trying to influence the election. What Smith knew is that this election would have the effect of the largest jury verdict in history, that if the president was elected, he was out of a job. And that turned out to be true.
The largest jury verdict in history. It didn't work this time. And now it's for us to smash the system, to atomize it. It didn't work this time. It could have, and by every measure, it should have, based on how rigged these systems were. A confluence of miracles. The Fani Willis case should have actually been the first one to trial. Fani Willis case could have been brought and Trump could have been charged and imprisoned in Georgia. It's real. I mean, that is as real as a heart attack. They were days away from sentencing Trump to Rikers Island in New York. As the judge snickered on the stand, according to Alina Habba on this program. Alina Habba joining right after the verdict. Alina Habba saying the judge was laughing under his breath as they were sentencing Trump. These monsters need to go to jail. And everyone in the legal profession and the political landscape needs to watch as Jack Smith's head gets shoved into a cop car with his hands in chains behind his back and shoved in. Said, you've been found guilty. Conspiracy against rights. We don't do this here. It's the only way. That will be the end, the atomization of this system. Greg Jarrett, another wonderful legal expert, friend of the show, saying Democrats so overplayed their hands that it ended in their destruction. Go.
Well, it ends poorly for Democrats. They overplayed their hand. You know, their 8-year-old lawfare campaign that began with a Russia hoax and ended with these federal cases backfired on them. People resented it. They saw Trump as a victim, not a villain. And, you know, these two federal cases are so typical. They should never have been brought. No fair or neutral prosecutor would have done it. They were purely political, legally anemic. They were based on untested legal theories that were dubious at best and constitutional roadblocks. The Supreme Court blew a big hole in the J6 case on immunity grounds, but they also said obstruction charges you're using, you are misusing them. In the end, there was really nothing left of Smith's cases, especially since the Florida judge tossed the documents prosecution because the special counsel himself was unconstitutionally appointed. So Jack Smith now goes down in history, I think, as the poster child for failed, biased prosecutors who abuse their power. And it's a huge defeat for corrupt lawfare and a big win for Americans and our system of justice, Sean.
Oh, a wonderful analysis there. Let's go ahead on over to the Trump family. Laura Trump, soon to be senator from Florida, we hope. Come on, here's fingers crossed. Laura Trump, on all of this, she's been on this program many times, defending, obviously, her family against this. Of course, her husband, Eric Trump, has been unfairly terrorized by this. They were trying to put Eric Trump in prison. He's a young father. He's got young kids. Don't know their exact age, but they're under the age of 6, right? Like, he's got little kids. They were saying that Eric Trump is culpable for the Donald Trump business dealings in New York, and the city of New York was coming after the Trumps. Oh, man. So when you talk about what can affect someone the very most in life, the core, raw being, it is taking them from their children. Removing them from their children's lives, like affecting their children forever. It is something that is eternal, that binds you, right, to the heavens and the stars. Because you know that children are a gift from God. And when you come after these parents, that hurts. We did this for Laura and Eric, of course, friends of the show. Here's the response.
Just humble suggestion. I'm a mere talk show host. What do I know?
Yeah, those were very popular. The largest tax cuts in American history, of course, under Donald Trump with the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. And yeah, I think that's probably going to be day one, Sean, to get this country not just energy independent, but energy dominant again. I think what we saw happen today with this Jack Smith case is really remarkable. You know, I remember the day that the raid on Mar-a-Lago happened, I came on Fox News that night and I said, you know, I think this is a demarcation line in the history of America. And I actually believe that that was right, because not just the fact that we've never seen these kind of communist Soviet style tactics so brazenly used against a political opponent to intimidate and to sway the outcome of an election, not just because, you know, that was really the start of a stain on the history of America the past several years, with Jack Smith, with Fani Willis, with Letitia James, with Alvin Bragg. but because I think, Sean, that was the moment that the American people really woke up and took notice as to what was going on in this country. And they did what we have done in the United States for 248 years. On November 5th, we chose liberty over tyranny. We fought back. We took our country back. And what you're seeing happen right now with Donald Trump's cabinet picks and his appointments are exactly the mandate the American people delivered on November 5th. That's why the approval of everything is so high. That's why you see the economy starting to roar back. That is why people are desperate for January 20th to come around, because we know if it's already starting to feel good now, Sean, just wait until Donald Trump is actually physically back in that White House.
We actually have a post this morning that's going thermonuclear viral on everything Trump's accomplished without even being. It's still November, right? Like it's hasn't even been 3 weeks. Everything that Trump's accomplished since being president-elect less than a month.
Oh, okay. Oh, I didn't know. I didn't know.
The destruction of Democrat lawfare is a small agenda item on here. It needs to be destroyed further. They're not remorseful about what they've done. I think because of their reptilian nature, which Adam Smith's economic hero, Adam Schiff, clearly a man who would spontaneously combust if he told the truth. Somebody who you could probably burn him if you held a cross up to him. If you hit him with holy water, his skin would start to melt. His exoskeleton have to crawl back into the little lizard chamber, right? Get a new one, just like Darth Vader. This guy's a sick person. Shows Democrat Party politics exactly what it's about. This man has lied to the American people with total impunity, and he gets rewarded for it. Adam Schiff is the perfect example of what I'm talking about here. He has lied and hoaxed the American people through 8 straight years. And what does he get? Dismissal? No, a promotion. He's now in the Senate. Here's Adam Schiff bitching on TV about how they should have put Trump in prison faster. Okay? Do you understand why we need to destroy this? Why we need this moment? We must have Kash Patel at FBI, Pam Bondi at Justice. We must seize with both hands and strangle this rot. It has to go because they're not sorry. And they're waiting for next time. As soon as Trump's out of office, it happens again. Watch.
Now, Jack Smith relied on the opinion of lawyers within the department who said that they thought it was required by the Constitution to dismiss the case, but it isn't required by the Constitution. There's nothing that would interfere with his performance of the office, whether the case is dismissed without prejudice or merely postponed. So I think this is a serious mistake by the department. It compounds the mistake that you alluded to, which is they waited a year before they even brought this case forward or began the investigation. And then you have the Supreme Court with this immunity decision, and now you have a potential nominee in Pam Bondi who is saying she's going to prosecute the prosecutors. All of that goes against what Jack Smith said in his brief motion, which is that no one's above the law. So we're hearing that phrase a lot, but we're not giving validity to it by these actions.
It keeps getting booked. It keeps getting brought on TV. The reason why is because they wish to reward those who tell lies on behalf of the system machine and the permanent state in Washington. Adam Schiff is one of the most profound lie tellers in the entire operation. So they promote him. There's an ecosystem built on lies, but those systems fail in the end. And I believe you are actually seeing the large-scale failure of these corrupt systems right now. You're obviously watching them running scared. They are not running with any type of confidence. These are the actions of guilty people. This dropping of these cases proves once and for all eternally that they were political in nature and were only brought in order to sabotage and rap smear Donald Trump. And that's not what we do in this country, and there needs to be retribution. The reason why we have been going so hard in the paint on this over the last couple of years, sometimes there's like entire months that we would spend on Fani Willis, right? ALX, like months, every single show on Fani Willis, every single show on Alan Bragg, broadcasting live Donald Trump's court hearings. The reason why, 7 straight hours we did, the reason why is because of this, the threat this holds, and that if we get power again, we must eliminate the capacity for this to happen to anyone else. So we brought on some of the world's experts on this issue to talk through it. Kash Patel, prayerfully the future FBI director, on our program explaining what needs to happen to Jack Smith. He says, put him in jail. Let's go.
Jack Smith has just been exposed by Judge Cannon of doing what? Lying to a federal court. These guys keep doing it. The judge just unsealed documents in the Jack Smith case down in Florida, which says the prosecutors themselves have admitted to tampering with evidence, to moving the very boxes from one location outside of D.C. to South Florida before they ever even charged Donald Trump. How in the world can you not be prosecuting and charging these constitutional gangsters that are at the DOJ? And they learn it from the same place, the top down, the same AGs, the same DAGs, the same FBI directors who are cheering them on. I hope Judge Cannon, he's an actual fun legal thing that should actually be occurring. Judge Cannon should be implementing actual contempt proceedings against Jack Smith and the Department of Justice for lying to a federal judge and withholding evidence of exclusion and innocence from Donald Trump. Those contempt proceedings would be righteous, and I'd like to see those. Maybe we could put Jack Smith in prison.
You should put Jack Smith in prison. I was telling Klein, wow, the quality of the shot has certainly improved in a year. The clip's about a year old. Is that right, ALX? Around there. Man, so we just take a moment to say we're thankful here in this Thanksgiving season for you and for giving us the capacity to increase the quality of the program and the quality of our studio and the quality of our broadcast and our experience in telling the truth here. And we've had that experience because we've brought on the people who defended Donald Trump in the court of law. And there's very few people that actually go into the courthouse with Trump. Kash didn't. It wasn't his role, but Alina Habba, it was her role. And Alina Habba has this to say about Jack Smith: we're not done with you yet. We're not done. Get ready. I think that probably there are many scared, there are thousands of scared people at the DOJ. According to many reports, they're literally shaking in fear, living in a salt mine of tears.
Yeah.
But this has got to be the scariest for Jack Smith. Now, you've been at war with Jack Smith for quite a while. You've stared down Jack Smith. Jack Smith is now scurrying like a rat. It's not going to give Trump an opportunity to fire him, as you've predicted on this program. He's going to resign. Your message to Jack Smith.
Bye. We're not done with him, because I'll tell you what now. What he did, $50 million of taxpayer dollars. When I say we, I mean the American people. You can't resign and hide from what you did. You cannot. And, for these people that are real tough guys, you're running real quick. And that tells me that we were right. We were right. Every time someone said, I was wrong, she's so stupid, she doesn't know what she's talking about, and I'm screaming on the courtroom stairs, I don't look so wrong right now. Because if you have nothing to hide, where are you going?
Nothing to hide. Why are you fleeing America? If you're on the Diddy list and you're a celebrity and you're one of Epstein's best friends and Donald Trump gets elected and you flee forever and you tell the press that you're never coming back to America, why? Seems like you're guilty. It's not what an innocent person does, right? There's something else going on here. Jack Smith is resigning and closing up shop. We thought that they said that they would push these prosecutions all the way through to the inauguration date. What the hell happened? Did your balls fall off? Right? Words of the Joker. What's going on here? They're guilty. They're guilty of crimes. There's a report actually in Politico of Jack Smith's team saying that they really think, they hope that their work on the special counsel stands up against legal scrutiny. What a strange thing to say. Why would you hope for that? That opens the door to the chance that it doesn't? That kind of opens the door to the assumption that what you were doing was illegal? Incredible. Look at this. Look at this article. Here's Killer Klein. Trump's biggest courtroom nemesis is looking for an exit strategy. In this article, it talks about resignations in mass at Maine Justice. People associated with the Jack Smith prosecution, how they're fleeing, how they are now looking for lawyers, defense lawyers. What a strange thing to do. It's not something an innocent person does. Right? It's not something that you do. If a cop comes to your house and says, show me where the bodies are buried in your backyard. And you're like, pfft. An innocent person goes, here's a shovel, pal. Make sure you put the sod back. Enjoy your dig. Maybe you'll find some ancient Indian burial grounds. Get me an arrowhead. And you keep mowing your lawn, right? That's what I'd do. But a person who's a serial killer and has a bunch of bodies buried very shallowly in their backyard doesn't exactly behave like a... acts very differently, don't they? Maybe they'd immediately get a lawyer. Maybe they'd flee. Maybe they'd run. And you're seeing that behavior. It's incredible. It's incredible how the synthesis of this. It's pretty easy when you actually look at it through the lens of human nature. Jim Jordan on this program just a day or two ago saying Jack Smith needs to preserve his documents. Yeah, well, what would be your advice to Jack Smith and Fannie Willis? Are they going to get more subpoenas to come in and testify about what exactly happened behind the scene? Could they be expecting to hear from you? Are you going to need to send this federal marshals to hunt them down like you did Nathan Wade?
Preserve the documents, Mr. Smith. Give us the information that, preserve that information so when the new administration comes in, we can get that information, take a good look at it. And then, with Fannie Willis, that case is just falling apart. And they keep moving back. The Alvin Bragg case was ridiculous as well, and they keep moving back the sentencing date. I think it now is slated for the 26th. So we'll see what they decide there in that case also.
They're behaving like guilty people.
73.
So that's
start time between 7 and 9.
the liberal freak out
And then it's
on this
8 hours
is
plus.
absolutely delicious. It
It says on the green card too.
What is this? Is this our salt that lib of the day? Okay, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. We salt the libs. Let's salt these salty libs on this clip. Lib freak out in the corporate press explains to you two things. One, they know they failed. This was an operation. They had a part in this operation to merchandise this and to let everyone know that Donald Trump's a convicted felon. Well, guess what? He's not a convicted felon. Something I also got off the phone with my lawyers talking through this about. My lawyer saying without prejudice stuff, you need to zero in on that. And then convicted felon means a judge has sentenced Trump. Trump's not a convicted felon. Trump's not even a felon. Trump's not a felon. You become a felon once a judge has reviewed and then given you a punishment, what the jury finds. Jury can say whatever they want.
Got my son coming over Sunday.
In some cases, a jury finds a defendant guilty and a judge tosses it. And what that means is you're not a felon.
Midwest.
You're not a felon until a judge has sent you off to prison. So Trump ain't a felon. So it's took that away from him. The salt is flowing, baby. Okay, here we go. Salt that lib, liberal supercut reacting to this. They know that they failed, and now the pain comes for them.
Well, look, I certainly understand why he did it, given the Department of Justice policy that you cannot prosecute a sitting president. I think it is a shame for justice in this country.
Of course, now there's no accountability, either using the constitutional method of impeachment or the courts.
One of the things is we saw all these cases and they never broke through because the media is different.
They're also very worried about what will happen to the rule of law now that these signals are being sent to Trump's base.
You have one man who has managed to really escape justice in all of the various ways that feels very unsatisfying in terms of the rule of law in this country. And it makes us more akin to regimes that we heretofore have denigrated.
The salt in the cup.
All you can do.
Salt in the cup. Put it in the cup. I want to drink it. Thank you, everyone. In the chat, the salt flowing today. Oh, they're such weasels. They're such rats. They're such lizard people. The manipulation of language. He escaped justice. Oh, Andrew Weissman, he makes your skin crawl. This is why you must, when you're disciplining a child, you have to break the child of the assumption that they're right all the time and that their vision is just in the world. You have to present reality. Sometimes it takes a little bit of pain to present reality, to snap back. Okay, it happens to all of us. We must have frog marches into prison. And I think that reality will hit, ladies and gentlemen. I think that'll hit. There's a great reality that's happening right now across our southern border and our northern border. Very quickly here, I just want to touch on. Mexico and Canada and China have all been threatened with tariffs. Donald Trump last night, Donald Trump saying, listen, Mexico and Canada and China are all part of an operation to poison and kill Americans. China creates synthetic drugs for cheap, for pennies, fentanyl. Then that gets shipped straight through Mexico. Corrupt Mexican officials take payoffs from the cartels and allow caravans and cartel operations to totally take over our northern border, and that poisons our country and fills our country with criminal aliens, gang members, ISIS, some of the worst people in the world, Tren de Aragua, and so on. And so what we're going to do here is we're going to cripple your economies and your countries. America has the best economy in the world, and it is about to get rip-roaring with 4 years under Trump. Anybody who's not part of that, anybody who's not tethered to the American economy over the next 4 years is going to see their country descend into madness. Bread lines, food lines, revolts. Being a part of the American experiment, and a part of that, especially if you're a very close trading partner with America and it's part of our same continent and share a border with us, that will accelerate and cause incredible wealth creation. Unless Donald Trump puts a 25% tax on everything you make. It's genius. Trump says 10% tariff on China, 25% on Canada, 25% on Mexico. That's what's going to happen until you stop it. Now, Canada and Mexico could easily stop criminal alien immigration into America overnight. Mexico could deploy their military. They could actually stop migrant caravans. You know, Mexico's really narrow down on the southern tip. That's where the migrant caravans pour through. They could just literally turn them away. Mexico could just enforce its immigration laws and say you're not allowed to be here illegally. Mexico does this because they're getting paid off. You flip the economics around, it becomes very simple. Game. Mexico and Canada cannot afford, their economies are already in collapse and crisis. They cannot afford the 25% tariff. And by the way, what that will mean is this is already happening, but massive repatriation of American industries back into our country where they belong, out of these countries. And that it will further descend into madness. These leaders will be out on their asses if that happens. So what happened immediately after that? Ooh, boy. Don't pick a fight with the heavyweight brawler. Action, reaction. You throw a drink in the face of the guy who just won the UFC heavyweight championship at a bar, expect to get your ass kicked. And that man is Donald Trump right now. And these people are shooting the president of Mexico and the prime minister of Canada are literally spitting in his face. Trump kicked their ass last night. Get a load of this. This is amazing. Within hours of this post, 90 minutes to be exact, Justin Trudeau called Trump groveling, saying he's ending all illegal immigration into Canada, and he's going to put more forces, Canadian forces, including but not limited to military forces, on the border, the northern border, to prevent illegal immigration from the north. This is happening, by the way. It's actually the highest increase of illegal immigration. And then secondarily, the president of Mexico, who is a little goblin, a little World Economic Forum goblin, she is straight up said, I am ending all migrant caravans. There will be no more migrant caravans. We will break them up and send them home. We're going to end all illegal immigration. We are going to work with America to stop that. Please, for the love of God, do not put a 25% tariff on us. We promise. We'll end illegal immigration. Oh. Mexico's going to pay for the wall, right? By the time this is all over, Mexico will pay for the wall. It's a wonderful practice in being a leader. It's a wonderful practice in being in peace through strength, and getting what you need through the tools that are in the control of the presidency. And if you look at Article 2 of the Constitution, the president's powers, the executive, tariffs are one of them. So imposing tariffs is something that Donald Trump can do, and there's absolutely no one who can challenge him. And so this is how you stop it. And within hours, here's President Trump halting illegal immigration in the country. Now, okay, here's the post that we put up on X. I don't know if you still have that, Klein, of the accomplishments of Donald Trump in the mere weeks after taking office. Mexico agrees to end migrant caravans. Canada closes border and ends illegal immigration. America's stock market, Bitcoin hit record highs. China's stock market crashes. Xi Jinping begs for peace with America. Companies move production back into the United States. Putin agrees to Trump peace deal in Ukraine. Putin backs back to selling oil in U.S. dollars. Putin no longer targets the dollar. Zelensky agrees to a peace talk. The EU shifts to buying United States natural gas and petroleum. Hamas agrees to end their war right now.
One of them are right here.
Israel and Lebanon. Illegal aliens are self-deporting across the country en masse. Corrupt government bureaucrats are retiring en masse. Government censorship regime is completely collapsing. And on its last breath, Democrat lawfare totally atomized, as we've talked about on this program. And Donald Trump is at 65% approval rating, which I think will actually increase when he gets in office. We're heading into the American golden age. Never get tired.
Shorts don't make shit. Not on YouTube anyway. I mean, you've got to get millions of views.
Continues to be a country led by laws.
But shorts bring in subscribers.
Tom Homan is one of those men talking about this issue. Something that we covered yesterday with a great member of Congress from Texas and Leslie Hunt, about these petulant mayors and Democrat officials that say that they will just simply insurrect against the federal government. I refuse to enforce immigration law. I refuse to allow federal agents. In fact, I will use my armed agents. So insurrection's definition is an armed uprising against the federal government and the authorities of the federal government. So the mayor of Denver saying he's going to use his armed police force
get his vision
to fight federal agents to protect criminal aliens and violent gangs in Colorado is an insurrection by definition. Tom Homan, the new border czar, saying, I am willing to jail the mayor of Denver, the governor of Illinois. You want to go to prison? I'm happy to put you there. They are breaking the law. Man, this is how you win, baby. Let's go. Have a listen.
Tom, you heard this mayor out there in Colorado. I want to get your reaction to it, and I want you to be clear about who has jurisdiction, the federal government or state and local governments. And if you're a sanctuary state or city, are you breaking the law?
You're absolutely breaking law. All you have to do is look at Arizona versus U.S. You'll see these breaking law. But look, me and the Denver mayor, we agree on one thing. He's willing to go to jail. I'm willing to put him in jail. Because there's a statute. It's Title 8 United States Code 1324 III. And what it says is It's a felony if you knowingly harbor and conceal an illegal alien from immigration authorities. It's also a felony to impede a federal law enforcement officer. So if we don't want to help, that's fine. He can get the hell out of the way. But we're going to go do the job. President Trump has a mandate for American people. We got to secure this country. We got to save American lives. And I find it shocking that any mayor of a city would say, President Trump's been clear, we want to concentrate on public safety threats and national security threats. I find it hard to believe that any mayor or governor would say they don't want public safety threats removed from their neighborhoods. I mean, I don't know what the hell is going on in Denver, but we're going to go and we're going to fix it. If he don't want to fix it, if he don't want to protect his communities, President Trump and ICE will.
He wants to go to jail. I'm happy to put him in jail, says the new border czar, Tom Homan. Ooh, baby. Them's fighting words, right? As they would say in Texas. And the top law official in the state of Texas, a wonderful friend of the show, a true patriot, a man of law and order who has overseen absolute and total lawlessness of the Biden regime and fought back tooth and nail. And we are so thankful for him, along with everything from razor wire to the buoy system and the Rio Grande. It's just a true man of legal authority and bravery. The great Attorney General of the state of Texas, Ken Paxton, joins us live now. Mr. Attorney General, I just want to start by saying congratulations. Like this was a very
Yeah, we're going to switch over to remote. So, here, let's go. I don't even. All right, see you guys over on Rumble.